Welcome to another deadline stream. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we're going to be answering every single question. The only place where all of your questions will be answered. It's a pleasure to have you on here, and what you can see here is how I did in Game Week 1 if you didn't see my team selection video, and on the left hand side you can see all the key stats that we want to see, including that amazing rank, 3.2 million. But look, it's only the first game week of the season, and nothing is lost, I'd say, at this stage. You can join the league, as you can see there. It's also in the description below. We're going to go through each single one of your questions right now, basically. But we've had a kind of a 2-week break, but we've still been putting out content. I tried to do a deadline stream, and everything was looking good with all the tests I was doing throughout the week. But unfortunately, I had a power cut as well to add on top of the internet issues I was already experiencing there. But here we are, we're back, and hopefully none of that will happen today. Welcome, Snipe Master. Hello, Dylan. Will be watching the stream, but after I got to go, as I'm going to go to UK from Poland. Just had a 2-week holiday. Safe flight and really good. Hopefully, you had a great time. And which part of Poland did you go to? I know quite a few Polish people actually. So yeah, it's good to see you on here, and no worries. It's a pleasure to have you on here anyway. Welcome to Yorgos. Hey, Dylan. Who should I captain, Haaland or Salah? This is the thing. Like, we're going to be discussing this extensively today. Salah is a bit more of an appealing option in general. Let's say, for example, they both had the same fixture. I would favour Salah still because he's a midfielder. He gets an extra point for the clean sheet and also for scoring a goal. And it takes more for Haaland to outscore Salah, basically. But I think this week, considering the opposition, I think I would go for Erling Haaland, but it's very close. I think it's much closer than people give it credit for. And like I already said, if it was the same fixture for both of them, obviously it's not possible, but I would favour Mohamed Salah. Ronaldo will score today. Yeah, I'd say so. I think he's going to start. He changed the game, I think, against Brighton. He looked pretty good, created a chance for Rashford, and I think he will probably score as well. Hey Dylan, pretty boring week this week as I had to switch Kane to Haaland on Saturday night to avoid being priced out. Yeah, it's a bit of a recurring theme for most of us, isn't it? I actually didn't need to do the switch so early on. I made the transfer basically as soon as Haaland scored against West Ham. I was near the beach and I was like, you know what? I don't really care. Let's just do it. And I had that extra 0.5 million anyway. So I had a bit of time to just mull over it and say, you know what, I can just keep Kane. And I think there is a big merit to keeping Harry Kane. And as I said in my transfer tips video, I wouldn't sell him to any other forward other than Haaland. And even then, you don't necessarily have to. But the Game Week 2 fixture is just so appealing. And the way he rotates with Salah in terms of the captaincy is phenomenal. Yo, Dylan, how was your well-deserved time off? Thank you for asking, Sing. It was very good. And I pretty much arrived yesterday in the early hours of the morning. Yeah, I've finally got some sleep basically, but I do kind of wish I was still there in a way. But look, we're back and it's great to be here. Zeren says, hello Dylan, welcome, thank you for tuning in. Trippier versus Neto versus Bailey, drop one this game week. Great question. I think I would drop probably Trippier. I could see Newcastle conceding in that game. And as much as I don't think Neto and Bailey are destined to score, I think they're more likely based on the fixture. And Neto in particular, pretty impressive in Game Week 1. Welcome, D3K. Hopefully I've got that right. It's good to see you on here. Rolling this week, had Haaland from the start. To be honest, if I had Haaland from the start as well, I would have rolled as well. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of, you could say, a bit of a boring week. You know, those that had Haaland maybe don't need to make a transfer, and those that had Kane are probably just making the switch. So it's quite similar for most people. Should I play Guimaraes or Andreas Pereira? I'd actually play Bruno Guimaraes, but this is the thing with Newcastle, and as much as Bruno Guimaraes had a really good performance, he was man of the match in Game Week 1 against Nottingham Forest. I think Andreas Pereira is going to be a bit more offensive this season, but I have to say, this week I would play Bruno Guimaraes. It's very close, though. Thank you, Runak Ray. Much appreciated, mate. Should I start Gabrielle or Bailey? That's a great question. I think I would start Leon Bailey, but it's very close. And actually, one thing I want to show you before I go into my team selection and show you if anything has changed, because there's one change from the team selection video. Let's discuss that about Leon Bailey. Now, I'm not sure if this is exactly going to be correct, but here we go. This is according to the Birmingham Mail. Their predicted lineup does not feature Leon Bailey. So it has Martinez, Cash, Concert, Diego Carlos, Luka Dean, McGinn, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, Buendia, Watkins and Danny Ings. No Leon Bailey, but that's just one predicted lineup. And I think most of us still would expect Leon Bailey to start. Steven Gerrard the other day, actually, I think it was yesterday, was pretty positive about Leon Bailey, talking about his quality. Of course, he showed what he could do in the Bundesliga, and he had a very good pre-season. So I personally think he will start, but there are some outlets out there, like the Birmingham Mail, that don't expect him to. So let me know your thoughts on that one. It's just something worth bringing up more than anything else. Hi Dylan, I have Haaland. What about wildcard in Game Week 3? Got Kane and Jesus and Haaland as a forward line. That makes me depend on Walker and no Cancelo. The thing is, as much as we have the World Cup looming over in November, I would try to wait a little bit more for the wildcard. I think between Game Weeks 5 and 10 might be the optimal time, especially between Game Weeks 7 to 10. Look, there's no kind of set formula. Everyone's team is different, so maybe for you it does benefit you in Game Week 3, but honestly, I can't give you a kind of full-on, the best answer I possibly can because I don't know the rest of your team. But, just kind of thinking about it, from what you've told me, I don't think you should wildcard in Game Week 3, but that's just my opinion, and I could be wrong. Welcome, Aranya. Good to see you on here. I'm doing well. What about you, mate? Morning, Dylan. Would you take a one-week punt out of Foden, Mahrez, or Grealish? That's a great question. I think Mahrez. Just something about it. Mahrez against Bournemouth at home. I think he's the one. If you want to take a punt, but of course it is a punt for a reason. Let me now go. You know what? We're going to now show you kind of my team one by one. So let's go here to this screen. With these graphics that we've been creating over the last few weeks and months. And this is just an empty peach. I can't even speak right now. But yeah, here is the goalkeeper, of course. No surprises. Ramsdale is starting over Danny Ward. And we're just going to go for it one by one. But now the big change really, you will see it here very soon, is that Matty Cash has dropped to the bench and I'm playing a back four at the moment. Now, it's not completely settled in. I think that's the only thing I'm mulling over. There's 3 players that I'm considering to start, and we'll be talking about that right now when we get to the midfielders here. And as you can see, we are going for a 4-4-2. Neto has come in for Matty Cash. But the big dilemma I have on my hands this week, the only one really, who do I start between Neto, Bailey, and Matty Cash? I'll probably put a poll out in this chat, and if there are any other polls that you want to see, then let me know. I don't think the captaincy is worth it. You can go on my channel and check the poll that I put out there. Haaland is winning by an absolute landslide, over 70%. I think Salah could be a great differential captaincy. I say differential, he's still going to be captained by a lot of people, but not as much as Erling Haaland. His effective ownership is going to be absolutely crazy this week, but Salah is still in my thoughts for the captaincy, but I think he is just about missing out to Erling Haaland. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this 11, and I do have a bit of a benching headache, which is nice to have in a way, although most people will probably have just a concrete set 11 and it kind of eliminates that headache. But here you can see the 2 forwards, Jesus and Erling Haaland, my new signing. And who is going to be my captain? Well, we just said it, and it's no surprise really. Erling Haaland is my captain. Matty Cash is first on my bench. Andres Pereira is second. He's facing Wolves. Archer is there last on my bench. Let me know what you think of this team. So that is what I have at the moment. Jesus, getting a bit excited there. But yeah, it's between Neto, Bailey, and Cash. I'm going to put a poll out now very quickly. And yeah, so who to start? Just very quick. Cash, Bailey, and Neto. There you go. And like I said, any more polls, let me know, because we want to answer your questions specifically and help you with your queries. Yeah, an empty peach. I've been drinking too much peach, eating too much peach during my holidays. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're kind of catching up, I'm trying to get detailed answers to everyone. So Marco says, hey Dylan, boring week, only one main problem, which 2 to start? Andreas, James, Neto, and Bailey. Heavily considering Neto plus Bailey, not James. I feel James maybe plays right centre-back versus Son and think Tottenham score. That's a good prediction, and I can understand your point of view, to be honest, and that's a really good shout, considering benching Reece James. Spurs are arguably the favourites in that game, Chelsea didn't look that great against Everton. And in pre-season, they were very poor. But Spurs have looked pretty good. They've had a good window. They're top of the league at the moment. So that's a good shout. However, that's a really good point. I think I'd still start James. I think he will start as a right wing back. And I would go for, if I had to pick, it would be Leon Bailey, but under the assumption that he starts. If we look at what happened in Game Week 1, you would argue Neto is the one that has to start. But for me, Reece James can still get an attack and return, even if Chelsea lose or concede a few goals. So I would go for him personally, and also Leon Bailey. But I think most people would disagree with me and just go for Neto. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe that wasn't the greatest question. Who to start? I mean, maybe the best question was who to bench in my poll. But to be honest, I mean, Cash, as you can see, most people thinking that I should bench him technically if we reverse it. Maddison or Diaz? I think I prefer Maddison, to be honest. Yeah, maybe not in Game Week 2. That's a clear distinction. I think Diaz looked pretty good, to be fair, in Game Week 1. He was very unlucky not to score. But James Maddison, I mean, he could have had a huge haul against Brentford. He scored home and away against them last season. He got the assist, but then he also created another chance which hit the post, I think, for Wesley Fofana. Maddison, for me, is arguably the best 8 million midfielder out there, along with Bukayo Saka. That's kind of my own prediction or point of view there. We hope to make the holiday to work transition smooth. Yeah, exactly. Hey Dylan, how are you doing? What about Neto or Trippier? I would start Neto this week because I don't think Newcastle keep a clean sheet. And I don't see Trippier getting an attack and return. So if he gets both now, you know, I hold my hands up, but it's just my opinion. I think I would go for Neto there. Hey Dylan, how are you? Hope you had a great holiday. Thank you, Sudindra. And which two do I start between Bailey, Pereira, De Silva and James? Great question. I think I'd go for James and Bailey though. Josh De Silva, obviously, really well taken goal against Leicester. And I think that was his first kind of game or competitive game, first start, because he had like a 18-month injury and, you know, very impressive stuff by him. I think he could be a great 4.5 million option. We've got a few there with him and Andreas Pereira, but I would go for Bailey and Reece James there. I've got both Haaland and Kane. My 11, Haaland, Kane, Jesus, Salah, Neto, Bailey, Trent, Cancelo, Zinchenko, Cash and Ward. Would you roll or make any transfers? To be honest, I would roll, but just a few concerns I have about that team, and obviously it's just my point of view, is the goalkeeper. You know, yes, he's 4 million, you're not going to expect too much, but I would rather have a better option there, whether it's Nick Pope, Ramsdale, Allison, whoever you can name, Edison. I just don't like the Leicester 4 million double up. I just don't see enough clean sheets there. So that's something I would be concerned about in the long term. But obviously, goalkeeper isn't a major position. But you still want a kind of set and forget option that can get you some points. I like the defense, really. It's really good. You've got Zinchenko already. That's great. The midfield's decent, although I would prefer a bit more invested in there. And to be honest, you could say the same about my team. I don't have the 8 million midfielder as well. But I have to say, your attack is great. And I can see a lot of points from your front four, technically. So that looks great, to be honest. I wouldn't make a transfer just yet, but just in the future, I'd be very concerned about the goalkeeper. I'm so annoyed with my team. So template: Ramsdale, Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, James, Salah, Neto, Bailey, Martinelli, Jesus, Haaland. A lot of our teams are very template though, isn't it? And I'm trying to see, yeah, our teams are identical, aren't they? Oh my God, they're pretty much the exact same. Yeah, well, there you go. We're just templating it. Is Rashford good? Because Ten Hag seems to want to play him more. Look, Rashford is definitely a better option than he was last season, and he got chances. That is the main thing. But I don't know. I think, like I said in my transfer tips, he is still a sell for me because around the same price, actually a bit cheaper, you got Martinelli, who will probably get more goal contributions. He plays in a better team at the moment. I think I'd just go to someone like Martinelli. But look, Rashford in the long run could be a good FPL option once again. I talked a lot about him in pre-season. Yeah, Messi not in the top 30 Ballon d'Or nominations. Look, he scored 6 league goals. That was awful, but he still got, I think, 37 goal contributions in 45 games last season. And remember, the Ballon d'Or has now changed from an annual thing to a seasonal thing. But then if you look at this year, 2022, he's won 2 trophies, and he also got, I think, the 3rd most goal contributions of any player. He's actually got a pretty decent goal record in this calendar year. So look, I completely disagree with it. Like, there's certain players that are in it ahead of him, which is just stupid. I don't think Messi deserves it this year. I think most people would say that, you know, that'd be very delusional. But I think he's still top 10, personally. Obviously, some people may disagree, but it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. What else do we have? Start James or Andreas? I'd go for James. When did you come back from vacation? Yesterday, pretty much. Early hours of yesterday. The flight was basically late Thursday. Hi, Dylan. Hope you're well. Why are Chelsea attacking players like Havertz and Mount be ignored this season? Mount, fair enough. I think he's a good option and he deserves more ownership in a way. The thing is, look, I'll give some reasons. In terms of Mount, why he's not maybe that popular is because you have so many around 8 million. I think that's the key reason, but I have to say Mount is definitely a great choice. I don't like Havertz that much as an FPL option right now. He's very inconsistent. He tends to average, 5 to 8 Premier League goals per season. And you've got Jesus around the same price. You've got Ivan Toney a bit cheaper. Callum Wilson. You've got Nunez at 1 million more. I prefer those options over Kai Havertz, to be honest. And you've also got Mitrovic, who could be an absolute gem this season. So, yeah, I don't really like Havertz, and I think just his sheer inconsistency is why he's being overlooked. And then maybe a reason why Chelsea attacking players are overlooked in general is because Chelsea do look a bit shaky, compared to previous seasons, and their attack hasn't been that great under Thomas Tuchel. Morning, Dylan. How confident are you that Bailey will start? I wouldn't say 100%, but I am fairly confident, to be honest. I think he will start, based on what Gerrard said in the press conference yesterday and also how he did in pre-season. Mount, Saka or Diaz? I actually prefer Saka at the moment. If I had to rank them, it'd be Saka, Mount, Diaz. But in terms of Game Week 2 specifically, Mount will be at the bottom of the pile because Tottenham is the toughest fixture of the lot. Missed Game Week 1 now, got to try up and catch up with you guys. It's possible, to be honest. I mean, a lot of us got maybe not a lot of us, but a decent amount got pretty poor scores. Is Matip out? Yes, I think he's ruled out. And that could be a bit of a blow to Liverpool, but you'd still expect a clean sheet there. Welcome, Galactic Hobbit. And now I'm going to try catch up because I'm now probably way behind. So yeah. Neto, Bailey, Cash, I think. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty much, that's what most people would say, and I can understand that, to be honest. I think it's just kind of a gut feeling. I think Leon Bailey could do extremely well if he starts, but that's a really good list. Should I start Perisic? What's the alternative, though? If it's starting Perisic or Andres Pereira, I would take the plunge on Perisic, but I don't expect him to start. James or Martinelli? I would start Martinelli this week, definitely. Who to bench? Reece James, Aït-Nouri, Trippier, Kulusevski. I actually would probably bench Trippier. Yeah, I think I'd bench Trippier. What do you think about Damsgaard? He did very well in Euro 2020, and he could be a decent signing for Brentford. I think it's a decent signing. He's been fairly inconsistent, I think, over the last year or so, but definitely has a lot of potential, and it could be a bit of a steal there. Thank you, Damien. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you very much. Perisic to Walker and bench Bailey, or bench Perisic and roll the free transfer? I'd roll the free transfer and just bench Perisic. Yeah. The reason why is because City are also signing a left-back. I think his name is Gomez. If I got that wrong, then let me know. And yes, he's a left-back, but that also could push Cancelo to the right-back position, and Walker could be benched a little bit more. So I think Walker isn't the safest option in the long term. And if we look at his minutes in the last few seasons, it has kind of gradually deteriorated. So I would just roll the transfer and, start Bailey, actually. I'd start Bailey and bench Perisic, if anything. Is there any chance we'll get early team news for Villa versus Everton? There's a chance for sure. I'm not sure how likely, though, Karaki. Should I start Andres over Perisic? I'd probably start Perisic, but it's definitely more risky. I can't lie, based on the fixture and also on his probability of starting. Yes, I would change my goalkeeper, but maybe for Game Week 2, I'll just roll. Exactly. I wouldn't do it just yet, but I'd do it in the future. But I'm planning to maybe start Bailey and Andres over James and De Silva because I think Chelsea won't keep a clean sheet. Fair enough. I just think that Reece James has the potential for a bonus points, even if he doesn't get an attack and return or a clean sheet. It just depends how the game goes, really. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 0-0. I can't lie. I think a 0-0, a 1-1, something like that wouldn't surprise me at all in Chelsea versus Tottenham. Another question, should I start or bench Trippier? It depends for who. Out of those players that you mentioned, I would start Trippier over De Silva and Andres Pereira, but not over Reece James and Bailey. So hopefully that answers your question there. Same team as yours, just Trippier and bench 4.5 million strikers different. At least there's a difference there, Singh, but yeah, it's not ideal. Perisic, Spurs wing-backs on the card soon? Definitely, but my main concern is the rotation, really. I was very happy to start with Perisic in Game Week 1, but once I saw the predictions of the starting lineups and Perisic wasn't in there, that really put me off, and I also didn't expect him to start. I said this in my Game Week 1 deadline stream, you can check that out as well. I didn't expect him to start, and unfortunately he didn't, for those owners. I'm struggling with my decisions this week. I don't have Haaland and would need a -4. Remove Son and Brennan Johnson. It's not worth it for me. Yes, you would take a -4 and you would get Haaland, who's facing Bournemouth, you'd captain him, and Son's facing Chelsea, but in the long run, I don't think the -4 is worth it. I'd rather wait another week in order to do that move. So I would just stick with your guns, Yusuf, in my opinion. Jesus to Mitrovic, if Jesus blanks this game week and Mitro continues his form? That is a good question. I mean, a lot of us have that kind of structure of a premium forward like Kane or Haaland, and then we have that medium price like Jesus, and we can move him on to Mitrovic. I wouldn't do that just yet because I really like Jesus' fixtures. And actually, one thing I want to talk about Jesus, and let's bring this up on screen right now is his record against Leicester. He's never lost against them, as you can see on screen, and he scored 5 goals in 7 games. So I'd be very encouraged. Obviously, Arsenal could ruin the records, as they tend to do, but I'd really like Jesus this week, and I think he has got a great set of fixtures. His overall performances are looking very good, and I think he'll translate that to goals very soon, in a competitive sense anyway. I heard a stat where Mo Salah hasn't scored in any Game Week 2s. I actually haven't heard of that. I'm not sure if it's true, but that could be a great find if that is indeed true. Let me know, chat, if that is true. Mohamed Salah hasn't scored in any Game Week 2s, but that, I'm assuming that is not scoring goals. He probably has still got some hauls with assists and stuff like that, but that could be true. I remember, I think last season against Burnley, wasn't it? Didn't he blank? So yeah, maybe you're onto something there. Dalot to White. Yes, but you don't necessarily have to do it this week because I wouldn't be that confident of an Arsenal clean sheet against Leicester. Let me go through the other questions as well, just a bit higher up. Thank you, Coopsy Coop. I had a great vacation. Thank you very much. And hopefully you are having a great summer as well. Would you do Trippier to Zinchenko as a Newcastle fixture next few game weeks? Tough one. I would only do that if you have no one. Sorry for the voice crack. If you have no one to come on for Trippier for game weeks 3 and 5 when they have 2 of the worst fixtures imaginable to man. But if you do have cover, you know, I just keep Trippier. If you don't, I'd sell to Zinchenko, yes. But maybe not in game week 2. I'd do it in game week 3 for Green United. Should I transfer out Dean for Zinchenko or save the transfer? I'd save the transfer for now. Maybe for game weeks 3 or 4. That's when I'd look to do that, yeah. KDB captain, I think he's a great shout. He's probably my top 3 captaincy options this week, behind Salah and Erling Haaland. He could be a mega differential, you know, a fantastic way of clawing back the rank and the deficit from game week 1. Allison or Edison? I actually think, I think Alisson's a better option in isolation. The problem is you would rather have a triple up in Liverpool in the outfield positions rather than City. You know, you'd be a bit more comfortable having Edison taking a City spot than Allison, basically. But Allison, for me, will get more points because of saves and bonus. Jesus or Darwin Nunez? It's a good question. It's a very good question. I would go for Jesus. For Game Week 2, yes, I think maybe Nunez will score more points, but I think in the long run, or at least for the next 5 game weeks, I'd rather have Jesus. And with that extra million, you can do a lot. Hey Dylan, how are you doing for game week 1? I'm leaving Poland and going back to UK. I'm doing well, mate. And I think I read out your question at the very beginning. It's good to see you on here once again. And yeah, safe flight. And it's good to have you back, mate. Bench Trippier, Neto or Bailey? I would bench Trippier. Should I replace Neto or Bailey for game week 3? I'd wait and see how game week 2 pans out. And then we can assess a bit further. I'd actually probably rather get rid of Bailey because the fixtures from game weeks 4 to 7 are diabolical for Aston Villa. But with Neto, he still has a few good games, so it'd be that, yeah. Welcome to Ozzy, welcome to George. Thank you, Sudindra. Kane over Zinchenko, is this the start? I'd still start Kane, I'd never bench him, to be honest. Thoughts on Grealish? I actually discussed him in my transfer tips video. I think he's a skip for now. I think he's pretty good from a creative point of view. I could see him getting plenty of assists. But I'm not too sure about having him right now. And I don't like the 7 million options. I think Barnes is the best once he's back from injury. But no, not for me. I'd avoid the 7 million midfielders right now. And then in a few weeks' time, we can jump on a Barnes or a Grealish, depending on what they've shown. Thank you, Eric. Who's your vice captain? Definitely Salah. We're going to go now to the FPL website. And, okay, yeah. Let me know, by the way, if... Oh my god, I just got a red bar. Jesus, oh my god, the internet woes are continuing, even at home. Let me know if it's lagging or anything, and I think maybe the laptop's overheating a little bit, but there we go. Differential captaincy apart from Salah and Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, for sure, Ronak, yeah. Over 3 forwards, Haaland, Jesus and Darwin. If you've got them, then yes, I'd definitely start all of them. My preference is having more in midfield and defence and having maybe 2 forwards rather than 3. But that's not a bad shout, to be honest. And that front 3 looks great. Ash or Bailey? I've got the same dilemma right now. And, oh yeah, let me... 1 second. Apologies for this. I would start Bailey right now. And as you can see, this is my lineup. I've got Cash first on my bench. It's very close between Cash, Neto, and Leon Bailey, but this is how I'm lining up right now. I'm going to end the poll, by the way, so if you've got any more polls that you want answered, let me know. Make us a clubhouse room so we can have a conversation better. I might do that, in terms of a subscribers only kind of chat. Also, just so we can give more in-depth answers to the questions and stuff like that. So yeah, that could happen very soon. Should I sell Kane or roll the transfer? I'd only sell Kane to Haaland. Otherwise, I'd roll the transfer. Switched Kane to Haaland yesterday, so got hit with the price rises. Luckily, I had 0.5 in my bank. I had the exact same thing, mate. Yeah, would have had FOMO if I didn't make the transfer. Yeah, his effective ownership is going to be ridiculous, but let's just wait and see how it pans out. I still think Kane will score similarly over the next 5 game weeks to Haaland. It's just this game week where I think there should be a huge difference. Imagine now that, once everyone sells Kane to Haaland, it's actually Haaland that blanks and Kane's the one scoring a brace. Jesus. Which software do you use for video editing? Adobe Premiere Pro. What I'm using right now to stream is OBS. That's free. Premiere Pro is a subscription-based service, but yeah, that's what I use. There's a lot of things, though. I think DaVinci Resolve, there's a lot of things there. Darwin over Jesus? No, not for me. I think it's very close, though, and Nunez is doing very well, despite, maybe a few odd performances in pre-season, but it just shows you pre-season is one thing. Allo out, Walker in? Probably not. As much as I think Walker's an upgrade, and I think it will pay off in Game Week 2, in the long run, I'm a bit concerned about Walker's minutes. Aronson or Harrison? I think I'd go for Aronson, despite the fact that Harrison is Premier League proven. Alan, KDB, Cancelo triple up will be, yes, it will be fantastic this week, yeah. Bench 1, James, Neto, Bailey. I would bench Neto, arguably, and it's not really the most popular answer. Robert to Diaz with bench 4.5 to Mitrovic. That does look good, but if you already have a good starting 11 this week, I wouldn't do it just yet. And I think Robertson is very likely to keep a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, and I think Tsimikas is out with an injury, so he should be fairly nailed there anyway. Welcome, Nabil. I'm good. What about you, mate? Mount to Foden. Already have Saka and Kulu. I'd actually rather have Mason Mount. Maybe not in Game Week 2, but in the next 5 to 10 game weeks, I'd rather have Mason Mount. Welcome, Lager. Have an awesome weekend, and God bless you all. Likewise, mate. It's good to see you on here once again. I think he's starting, yeah. Biswanth. I think that Bailey is starting. Mount to Foden or roll? I'd roll, Jason. I'd roll. Thoughts on Robertson to Zinchenko now or wait? I'd wait. I don't think it's worth it. I think Robertson will outscore him this week. Would you do Kane to Nunez for Game Week 2? That's a fantastic question. Probably not. Like I said in my transfer tips, I'd only sell Kane to Haaland, no one else, despite how good Darwin Nunez is. Is it better to take a -8 or wildcard? Do you need to take a -8 or wildcard, though? That would be my question. What would I rather do? Maybe the -8, but even then, I'd be very apprehensive. Haaland and Darwin Nunez in the same team, I don't see an issue with that. And Nunez will score similarly, if not more than Jesus in the next 5 game weeks. Nunez might start on the bench yet again in Game Week 2, but it's only a matter of time before he becomes a full-on starter. Bowen a good choice? Yes, but I think there's better options at the moment, including Mason Mount, Saka, even Luis Diaz I'd actually put as well. I was very impressed by his Game Week 1 performance, and Maddison is probably my favourite. Maddison to Neto and Kane to Haaland for -4. Should I transfer? No, I don't think you need to take that -4, mate. I think Maddison could do very well in Game Week 2. And also, if you started with Maddison in Game Week 1, a really big reason for that is not just Game Week 1, but also Game Week 3 against Southampton at home. I would keep Maddison, definitely. If anything, do Kane to Haaland, but I'm guessing you don't have enough money for that. But I wouldn't take that -4, not for me. Neto or Bailey? I actually prefer Bailey this week, but Neto was definitely more impressive in Game Week 1. Hi Dylan, would it be wise to get Walker in for Doherty for a -4? Or start Cash and Patterson or Cash and Andres Pereira? I'd start Cash and Andres Pereira, and I wouldn't take a -4, Arthur. I'm so happy Salah's under captain this week. Yeah, I mean, look, that's a really good point, and I mentioned it earlier. I really like that as well, and it does, in a way, tempt me towards the Egyptian, but I don't know, man. It's really close between those two. Thoughts on Nathan Ake currently being first choice right now? I think he's fairly underrated. A lot of people give him stick and, they kind of point out his mistakes, but I think he's actually a pretty decent centre-back. Chelsea wanted him. I think he starts in most Premier League clubs, and he could be someone to look at FPL-wise, but I still don't know. Once Laporte is back from injury, that's where I think he starts to become the third centre-back once again. Thank you, Sam Walton, for your kind words. Thank you very much, mate. Start 2 if James Rashford, Bailey. Great question. I'd start Bailey and James, although Rashford could haul against Brentford, and I might be wrong about that one. That is really tough, You know what? I think I'd actually, you know, I'm going to change my mind there. I might bench James just about. I don't know, just a kind of gut feeling about Rashford in Game Week 2, but still not too convinced about him in the long run. Just low on confidence. Too early to be taking hits, especially for non-premium players. I agree, especially at -8, in my opinion. It's far too much. Bruno Guimaraes, Bailey, Neto. Start 2, bench 1. I'd bench Bruno Guimaraes, and I'd start the other 2. Yep, the majority is captaining Haaland this week, Alex. Go on my channel and check out the community section and check the poll I put. And if not, you know, we're going to bring it on screen. We could do that just so I can show you as well. So bear with me for a second. And by the way, let's try to reach a new target today. I know it's very ambitious, but it's still possible. So what I'd like, if it's possible, is to reach 12,000 subscribers. I think, are just 200 away now. We're on 11,800. So let's try to get closer to that milestone. And also, let's try to get this stream to over 200 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. And obviously, it's a blast talking to all of you, as always. But let me try to get this poll out. And we're going to be discussing this as well. So, yeah, bear with me for a second. Yeah, I mean, this is just a really comprehensive poll. So here you go. This is how it's looking like. Apologies for the bit of stutter there, but here we go. So 800 votes. Game Week 2 captain, 74% going for Haaland. So there's your answer, really. 19% going for Salah. And then, yeah, the rest is not really under consideration. I think I should have put De Bruyne in that poll list. I know he's very, you know, his ownership is very ridiculously low, but he's a fantastic option. And even Cancelo as well. I think those are all in the top 5 this week. But yeah, as you can see, Haaland absolutely running away with it. Absolutely running away with it. But let's go back now to my FPL website. And yeah, let's close some tabs as well. Let's ease the pressure on this laptop. Jesus. All right, we're going to whiz through these as well. Alpha says, please bench Bailey and start Andreas. Yes, Oh, you're saying it to me. Not for me. I know Andres Pereira looked much better than Bailey in Game Week 1, but I still would go for Bailey. It's just a gut feeling I have. I'm going to stick with it, I think. I appreciate your concern, though. Thank you very much, mate. Hi, Dylan. Do you think the Sunday transfers because of price rises are going to be more of a thing onto the World Cup? That's a good question. I think to a certain degree, yes, but it's still quite similar to the years gone by. The thing is, I think a lot of us are going to be making more short-term transfers now because we're not looking to maybe wait a little bit more for our wild card. So we are maybe going to be a bit more inclined to make early transfers. And if we get into a bit of a pickle, we can always wild card out of it early on and we won't be affected too much by it. And if anything, we could benefit from it. So I think in a certain extent, you might be right there. Madison to Neto, yeah. Like I said, Rakiball, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that transfer for a -4. Bench order, De Silva, Andreas, and Patterson. Oof, mamma mia. I would go for Andreas Pereira first, De Silva second, Patterson third. Transfer Bailey out for who? Any suggestions? Really, it's only Martinelli if you have enough money. Around the same price. There's not really anyone else. Dewsbury was someone I mentioned in pre-season, but he scored a long-range effort. It's not like he's going to score every single week. Josh De Silva's not too bad. I mean, you got Andres Pereira, but honestly, I just keep Bailey. I keep him for now. Bone versus Nottingham Forest, plus great fixtures coming up. Bone will destroy Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I agree. In Game Week 2, I think he'll do well, but there are better options for the next 5-6 game weeks than Jared Bowen around that price for me. Neto over Zinchenko to start. Oof, mamma mia. Probably yes. I think I would. In KDB and I own Haaland. Wow. I mean, to be honest, Sam, having that duo against Bournemouth, just enjoy the points. That's all I can say. Start Bailey or Walker. I'd start Walker. Morning, buddy. Hope you're well. Just going from a night shift. Wow, Mark. Get some sleep, mate, after this deadline and enjoy yourself in the next few days. I mean, literally, I had no sleep the other day, but not because of a night shift. And honestly, I just can't do it. So respect you, mate. You're like a nocturnal animal. Best 4.5 million defender to start except Saliba. I'd say Fabian Schär at the moment. And then it could become Botman once he becomes established in the Newcastle side. So that's what I'd say. I want to sell Diaz. What's the best option over him? Is this Ruben Diaz one? If it is, good question. I think a 5 million defender like Trippier, if you have the cover for Game Week 3 and 5, and also Zinchenko. You've also got Reece James, of course, Ben Chilwell, Cucurella could be good as well. But yeah, I think I wouldn't really divert too much from those. Zinchenko bench now, Tierney's fit. Not necessarily. I think Zinchenko played so well in Game Week 1. I think Tierney will come off the bench again and shore things up defensively. I don't think he starts. And also, what I think Arsenal now have the luxury of doing is easing the pressure of Tomiyasu and Kieran Tierney, because they have the cover in those positions with Ben White at right back and Zinchenko at left back. They don't need to rush them back from injury, and that also helps them in the long run to prevent getting further ones. Should I hold Mount or replace him? I'd hold. Haaland triple captain. It's definitely very tempting, and you know what? It could be a great shout. I wouldn't right now, but that's not a bad shout at all. I think it could be really, really, it's not something that's been discussed too much, but I think it's actually a great choice. It's just I'm not going to do it right now, and I probably wouldn't recommend it myself, but it's looking pretty good, I can't lie. Must-have midfielder for Game Week 2. Salah, if he can, De Bruyne, but obviously it's very hard to get to him. Who else? I mean, it's a very interesting question there. I think Diaz against Crystal Palace is a good shout at 8 million. Yeah, I think Jared Bowen as well. Those are kind of the best options for me. Then you've obviously got the other City midfielders like Foden, Mahrez, etc. Any Bailey updates? None that I'm aware of, but I am going to be keeping an eye on Twitter and seeing if we can get anything there. But yeah, bear with me for a second. Let's see. Oh yeah, by the way, it's just a bit of news as well. Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu will be in the Arsenal squad tomorrow. Fabio Vieira, however, is still missing. But yeah, let me check if there's anything for Leon Bailey. By the way, if you see anything on Twitter, be sure to let me know. We're stuck on this chat as well, going through your questions. So, but I type in Bailey and I'm getting something absolutely random. Yeah, I don't think there's any news right now, mate. No news as far as I'm aware. All right, let's go back to your questions again. To get Haaland in, switch out Kane and take out Saka for Martinelli -4 points. Not for me, Oscar. I wouldn't do it this week. Just wait for next week and do it for 2 free transfers, if anything. Jesus, Haaland, Mitrovic front three is a good idea. I think that's a really good structure. And if you are going for free forwards, I think that might be my favourite kind of structure. So you have the premium, you've got the 8 to 9 million. You could also have Nunez instead of Jesus. And I think Mitrovic is arguably the best. You've also got Callum Wilson and Tony. I like it. Sancho to Grealish or Gundogan for -4. I actually prefer Gundogan. And if Bernardo Silva leaves, I think Gundogan becomes even better of an FPL asset. I think Cash better than Neto. Yeah, because Cash plays at home and Everton poor in 4 positions. Yeah, especially if they play Gordon up front again, although that just didn't work. But they don't have too many options there. Start Mount or Andres Pereira? I'd start Mason Mount, definitely. Oh yeah, sorry, I just read that. Best replacement for Martinez. Is this the 4.5 million Argentinian defender from Man United, Lisandro? Or is it the goalkeeper? Let me know, George. I'm going to captain Haaland, but who would you start over Andres Pereira or Johnny? I would start Andres Pereira, I think. Would you start Reece James or Bailey? I'd probably go for Reece James myself, but it's close. I had a bad Game Week 1. Should I risk captaining Salah instead of safer higher captain Haaland to try catch up? I just go for whoever you think is going to score the most points. I know it sounds simple, but if you think Haaland's going to score more points, but you go for Salah to be different, I just don't really... I don't like that type of decision making. I've done it before myself. So literally, it's up to you. Let me know what your thoughts are on that debate. But I personally would go for Haaland. There's nothing wrong with going for Salah, though. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's just the kind of reasoning behind it. Captain Haaland, James, Trent. I'd go for Haaland. James, captain, not this week for me. I don't trust any Chelsea defender this week. Fair enough. Dealing with Conte plus Spurs attacking players. True. But I wouldn't be surprised, just say my opinion, if it was a kind of draw, a goalless draw. And they're both quite happy to see out a draw. Perisic replacement. Zinchenko, Trippier. I'd only go for Trippier, though, if you have the cover for Game Weeks 3 and 5 in the defence. And it just depends, really. I think you also got Reece James, but would I go from Perisic to James this week? No, I wouldn't. Neto, Bailey, Andreas. Who to play? Why? From those 3, I'd go for Bailey. I'd expect him to start and do very well against Everton. I like the fixture, and I've seen Bailey before he joined the Premier League, and he's an impressive player. A lot of Arsenal fans wanted him, for example, and a lot of top clubs. I'd start Leon Bailey, but it's close between him and Neto, I have to say. Welcome at all. It's definitely long time no see. Good to see you here. Yeah, Arsenal do play today. Who said he doesn't? Let me see. I've got a few questions here as well. Before we go through them as well, let's go through this. Thank you, Lager, by the way. Thank you very much for the super chat. I just thought I want to bless you a little. Thank you very much, mate. You didn't have to. It's much appreciated, and it's good to always have you on here. And I remember you also a channel member as well before. It's all much appreciated, mate. Thank you very much, and all the best of luck for this week, and hopefully you have a great weekend as well. Bless, mate. Thank you. If I don't do any change the next week, I will have How? I'm guessing you have 2 free transfers. Yes, you will. But you can't stack more than 2 free transfers. Yes. Thoughts on Spurs wing-backs? Doherty or Perisic? Any chance of starting? I don't think so at the moment. Emerson got a few assists against Southampton. He played well. You've also got Sessegnon who scored. If anything, I think Perisic is a bit more likely to start because he's got that experience of playing in big games, playing in big moments, winning trophies. I think, if anything, Perisic is more likely, but that doesn't mean he's going to start. I would steer clear from the Spurs fullbacks or wing-backs for now. Start Walker, James, or Bailey. Pick 2. I'd start Walker and Bailey, potentially. I mean, that's close. I'm not too sure about that one, actually. I definitely start Walker. Let me just make that clear. You know what? F it. I'm going to go for Walker and Bailey. Yeah, Walker and Bailey. KDB to Kulusevski and Jesus to Haaland. Ooh. No, I wouldn't do that. A -4 this early on. And look, KDB and Jesus is a fantastic duo. Is Mahrez and Doherty worth selling? Yes, but I probably keep Mahrez. I think he starts. Obviously, that's just kind of a gut feeling. I might be wrong. And Doherty, I think, is worth selling. Yeah, I wouldn't take a -4 for sure. Thoughts on Chilwell? Obviously, he got the assist, or he won the penalty for Jorginho. I still prefer Reece James. The way I think Chelsea will line up is Cucurella as the left centre-back and Ben Chilwell as the left wing-back. But from time to time, it could be the Spaniard filling in that position and Chilwell being benched to ease off the load. But then you can also say the same about Reece James playing as a right centre-back. So it's very close. I still prefer Reece James, though, despite Chilwell getting more points in Game Week 1. Hey, Dylan, I have Mahrez in my team. Do I transfer for Foden or Grealish or save the transfer? I'd save the transfer, but if you were to sell him, it would be for Foden. Who do you reckon will provide more points, Gordon or Bailey? Bailey for me. Would you ever consider captaining Cancelo if you didn't have Haaland? Yeah, I would. It would be between Salah and Cancelo for the captaincy in my team if I didn't have Haaland, for sure. Yeah. Trippier or Target? Trippier. Bailey or James? Bailey. Luis Diaz for the next 6 game weeks or Martinelli? I still prefer Martinelli just because what you can do with that extra 2 million. But the big problem with Martinelli now is that Smith Rowe is back from injury and he's in training and he's going to be in the squad. So he might from time to time be benched or at least come off earlier. Hey, mate, what about captaining Cancelo? I think he's in the top 5 captaincy options this week. To kind of give a ranking, it'd be Haaland first, Salah second, De Bruyne third, Cancelo fourth, Trent fifth. That is my top 5. Let me know if you agree or disagree. But I'd arguably put De Bruyne over Salah. That's very close. Hold Mount or sell him for a -4? Hold him. I prefer Mount anyway to Foden. Despite Game Week 2, you'd probably favour Foden for sure, but I wouldn't do that. Would you do Neto to Bruno Guimaraes? No, I'd keep Neto. I was very encouraged by his performance in Game Week 1. What do you think about Cancelo captaincy? Like I just said, he's in my top 5 options, and he's probably the best defender to captain this week, just about over the likes of Robertson and Trent. Solanke to which 6 million forward? I don't like the 6 million forwards that much. I'd rather stretch out a little bit more to Mitrovic. Otherwise, just keep Solanke for now and then reassess later on. But Solanke's not a bad option, I guess. And, you know, he's probably one of the better ones at 6 million. So I don't see the need to go to another 6 million forward for me. Would you do Neto to Bruno Guimaraes? Oh, I just said that, my bad. Answer that as well. Start Bailey or Neto? I'd go for Bailey if I had to pick. KDB or Salah captain? Salah just about, but I'm reconsidering that. Start Rodri or Caicedo for Game Week 2? Rodri, but just I'm not a big fan of both of them. You know, I'd rather have 4.5 million midfielders if you want to go a bit weaker in midfield. And that gives you enough to have the other 2 or 3 midfielders there that are expensive. Gabrielle or Saliba plus 0.5 million in the bank. Right now, Saliba. It's just Gabrielle is definitely more nailed long term. I played the wildcard, Neto or Grosh or Wissa. Grosh is someone I haven't mentioned, and also Danny Welbeck. They're good options from Brighton, especially Welbeck, who ended the season very strongly. But I still prefer Neto out of those three, but it's very close between all of them, to be honest. Kane and Diaz or Walker and Haaland for a -4 hit. Neither, to be honest. I wouldn't take a -4 hit if you can, help it, but if I really had to pick, it would be Haaland and Walker. It's just Walker in the long term might not be as good as Diaz, to be honest, because City are making another fullback signing, and that could also reduce the minutes there for Kyle Walker. Haven't seen anyone talk about Odegaard. The thing is with Odegaard, I don't like him that much from an FPL point of view. You've got Martinelli at 0.4 million cheaper. I think he's a better choice. You've also got, once he's back from injury, Harvey Barnes at 7 million. Zaha when he has better fixtures as well. Bruno Guimaraes is arguably just as good. You've got Leon Bailey, Neto, and a few others that are popping about like Trossard. You've got Grosh. Look, Odegaard's a good option, or he's a decent one. He's someone that could have a really nice streak, but I don't think he's the best FPL option around this price. Cucurella to Zinchenko. Yes, I think I probably would, just because I have a few doubts about whether he's going to start in Game Week 2 and also in the next few Game Weeks, but he was one of Chelsea's best players when he came on. Start Bailey or Trippier? Bailey for me. I'll start Cash ahead of Neto and Bailey because I can see a clean sheet. To be honest, that's why I had him originally in my team selection, and it's very close. We're just over an hour away from the deadline, by the way, and it's really nice to see all of you on here. Let's keep on pushing and getting to 200 likes, and yeah, we are, very close to 100 likes, so we can definitely do that. And in terms of subscribers as well, we have made a bit of progress, but we are trying to get to 12,000 subscribers, and I think we could do that in the next few weeks, so it'd be much appreciated to all of you. Best family and defender, probably between Zinchenko and Trippier for me. And I'd go just about for Zinchenko. Doherty or Cucurella for FPL draft? Probably Cucurella. For now, anyway. Bring in Walker, Ruben Diaz or Zinchenko? Zinchenko for the long run, I think. Vardy off, Mitrovic on. For a free transfer, maybe. But what you could do is just keep Vardy for now because he has a great record against Arsenal. And then maybe in the weeks to come, you can make 2 transfers. So you can get Mitrovic in for Vardy. And with that extra money, you can do something else. Maybe upgrade your midfield, for example. Thoughts on Jose Sarr? Yeah, Wolves have been a bit iffy. They had a decent pre-season, at least the beginning of it. But then it kind of tailed off. And the way they ended the last campaign was shambolic, to be honest. So I think there are better family and goalkeepers. But look, what he did last season was incredible. He was arguably the best FPL goalkeeper based on value and, how well he did from 4.5 million. But I think I would look elsewhere. Neto or Kulusevski? I'd still start Kulusevski. No doubt about that. Yeah. Perisic to Walker. I'm not that convinced about Walker in the long run. Yes, Game Week 2, Walker will probably do very well. But I think his minutes are reduced, once the new left-back fills in. Heidelin, would you replace Mount for Saka? Not right now. I think I just keep Mount for the next few Game Weeks and then maybe you can make the switch. But I don't think you need to make that move right now. In Boomer vs. Shaw, I want to see something. Well, maybe anyone against Shaw, to be fair. Thank you, Karaki. Thank you very much. Start Solanke or Neto? I'd go for Neto. Morning, Dylan. Good to see you, fella. Thank you, El Padrino. And it's likewise very good to see you. And yeah, it's good to be back. Do you think players like Reece James, Haaland, Trent could be rotation risk after Game Week 4? Also, I took a -4 to get in Darwin and Haaland, taking the L as I wasn't expecting Kane to drop. Wow. I mean, look, Darwin and Haaland, they are good transfers in. And look, you can take -4s early on and still do very well, of course. It's just I'm always a bit apprehensive about taking hits very early in the season. And look, to answer your question, I think that you have a bit of a point there. When the Champions League comes about, we've got such a congested fixture schedule. I think players like Haaland could sometimes be on the bench or at least come off even earlier. That could definitely happen. And as for Reece James, he can sometimes start as a right centre-back. And also, there might be the odd game, maybe a winnable game, and then they've got a really tough game over the next week in the Champions League, for example, where they kind of just think about it and say, you know what, Reece James, he can be on the bench. That is possible, but I think it won't be as prominent as most people would make you to believe, I think. Perisic or Lisandro Martinez? In the long run, it's definitely Perisic, but right now, Martinez is going to start matches, but is he going to get clean sheets? It might just be a case of Perisic gets 1 point, but Alessandro gets 1 or 2. So honestly, I'm not a big fan of either option right now. Once Perisic is nailed, he's one of the best defenders for sure. Morning, Dylan. Good luck this game. We love the stream. Dilemma for me is to play Trippier away at Brighton or Andreas away at Wolves. Now, that's a very close one, and I would actually heavily consider Andreas Pereira, but I think I would go for Trippier. Bench one of Pedence, Bailey, and James. Bailey starts? Yes. I think Bailey starts, but that's just my opinion. The Birmingham Mail, for example, don't expect them to start. I would bench... Mamma mia. I'd probably bench Reece James. I know it sounds crazy. It's really tough, though. It's really tough. I still think I could see a clean sheet there for Chelsea. You know, maybe a 0-0. It's really close. But I'd definitely start Bailey, actually. Thank you, JMPSD. Martinez, White, Cancelo, Cash, Trent, Salah captain, Diaz, Saka, Bailey, KDB, Jesus, rate my team. For this week, it's probably a 9 out of 10 for this week. I don't expect a clean sheet for White. Double Villa defense isn't ideal, but the midfield and the attack look great. Yeah, it's definitely an 8 or 9 out of 10 for this week. Thoughts on Sterling? Should I switch for Mount? Probably not. I just keep Sterling. He had a decent game in Game Week 1, probably a bit better than Mason Mount. I'd probably just keep him for now. In the long run, I do prefer Mason Mount, though, yes. Never was a big fan of F1 because of you. I started following a bit. Does Sebastian Vettel retire? Yeah, he's retiring at the end of the season. You know, yeah, if you're new to F1, you might not think Vettel's that great of a driver, but in his prime, and obviously the machinery is a really big part of Formula 1. You know, a great driver needs a good car to win the championship. That's pretty much how it is. But Vettel in his prime is one of the best of all time. He's got some great records, youngest F1 champion and stuff like that. But it's great to hear that. Obviously, look, F1's great sport to follow anyway. I just make F1 fantasy content, but yeah, it was kind of, I'd say, F1 was very boring to watch, I'd say, in the last few years. But last year or so, that's where it really started picking up again, I think. What do you say about Trippier? I think he's one of the best 5 million options, but I would only have him if he have cover for Game Weeks 3 and 5. Ramsdale or Mendy? Ramsdale. Start Bailey or Reece James? I'd start Bailey. Hey mate, should I get rid of Bernardo Silva? If so, for who? Martinelli, if you can. If you already have Martinelli, then maybe just keep Bernardo Silva for now. But it really depends on your budget, because if you have, for example, 1.5 million in the bank, then you could go for Bowen, you can go for Mason Mount, Saka, Diaz. So it just depends on your budget. Yeah, I think Dean could perform this week, same with Cash, and I'm still considering bringing him in. Bruno Guimaraes or Jack Harrison? Bruno Guimaraes right now. Hi Dylan, would you be concerned about Walker's minutes now? Yes, I would be. Not for Game Week 2, but yeah, I think in a few weeks' time, that's where I'd be a bit concerned. Yeah. Thanks, Dylan. Hope you smash it this week. Likewise, Lord Oshi. Thank you very much. I probably just butchered that, by the way. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. Cash or Bailey? I'm tempted to play Cash for a clean sheet. I'll be honest, I'm very conflicted about that one. I've got Bailey starting at the moment, but I'm very uneasy about it. I do see Villa winning the game, but then I also saw that in Game Week 1 against Bournemouth and they didn't do the business, but it's very close. I'm going for Bailey right now, so that's my answer, but I have to say it's 51-49, pretty much. Yeah, like, I don't know. Thoughts on holding my transfer as Haaland is too expensive for a swap with Kane? I'd hold it, yeah. I think that's the right thing to do, Nahian, yeah. You could arguably go for Nunez, Jesus, etc., but you don't need to. I think Kane's fine for the next few game weeks. I have 1 million. Can I move from Kane to Haaland, or believe in Kane and whether to start Bailey or Patterson? You can definitely believe in Kane, and that could be a great way of separating yourself from the crowd. And I think Kane will still score a similar amount to Haaland in the next 5 game weeks, but I have to say, I went for the switch. I had Kane, I went to Haaland, and look, you've got 1 million in the bank, so it's completely up to you. If you're asking me, I would make the switch, but there's nothing wrong with keeping Kane. Should I transfer Perisic out? I probably would, as I discussed in my transfer tips video. Until he's nailed, that's when we can start bringing him back. Bench one of Pedence, Bailey, James. Bailey will start. I think Bailey will start, you know, like I said before. I've been watching different FPL lineups. People aren't even thinking about Man United players. But there is a reason for that. You know, United are a dysfunctional team. They started well in pre-season, but then it kind of went downhill. They've got problems on and off the pitch. In terms of FPL assets, you've got Rashford, Sancho, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes potentially. But do you trust the defenders? No. And even the attackers, You know, you don't see United scoring a bunch of goals. Maybe against Brentford, it could be a high-scoring game, but it's just moments of individual quality rather than a cohesive attacking lineup, which brings the best out of the quality that they obviously possess. Do you think I should remove Allison for Ramsdale? I would make a goalkeeper transfer, and I think Allison's much more likely to keep a clean sheet this week, so no. It's taking a -4 to transfer either Rashford or Diaz. Worth it. It depends who you bring in, Lager. That is the main thing, but it could be, definitely. So, for example, if you go from Rashford out to Martinelli, I think it could arguably be worth it, but I'd probably just avoid the -4 and just stick with what we have. Kulusevski or Bone for the next 6 game weeks? Oof. You know what? I'd probably go for Kulusevski, but I think his minutes will be reduced with Richarlison now back from suspension. Yeah, I'm telling you, Aronson is about to be the hidden gem of the year. To be fair, though, maybe not we or I, but a lot of people in the chat have discussed him before, and Aronson, you know, could be a great signing for Leeds. He was very lively in Game Week 1, and yes, his ownership is going to be very low, and in that sense, he is hidden, but I think a lot of people have discussed him, in my opinion. Jubilee puts his team. Yeah. I like the team, to be honest. I don't think you need to make a transfer this week. Necessarily. Yeah, I mean, you know what, that's fine. I probably wouldn't make a transfer this week. In the long term, though, Perisic is nailed right now. Lisandro Martinez, I think there's better 4.5 million options out there. You've got Saliba, you've got also a Newcastle defender like Cher. I like the midfield, though, I have to say. The midfield's very good. The attack is great. The defense is solid, but I would get rid of cash in the next few weeks, yeah. I have 7.8 million left after removing Saka. Wow. Who should I replace him with? I wouldn't remove Saka. I don't see the need, mate. I'd just keep him. I have Jesus and Mitrovic so they can cover for Kane and switch to Haaland. Yeah, look. I would just... Yeah, Jesus and Mitrovic so they can cover for Kane. Wait, are you talking about benching Kane? If that's the case, I wouldn't bench him. Definitely not. Should I captain Salah? He's in my top 3 captaincy options this week, but look, it's completely up to you. I think there's definitely huge merit of captaining him. I'm going for Haaland, but it's very close between all of them. Can Hwang deliver this week? Yes, I think so. He's got the fixture. I'm just not that convinced about Wolves offensively. I have Martinelli already, so I guess I'm fine. I just wanted you to confirm it. Oh, fair enough, Lager, fair enough. Why are expected points for Newcastle this week so low? I think it's because Brighton are a good defence. That's the thing, though. I think when I look at that game, I could see a 1-1, a bit similar to the Chelsea-Tottenham game. I could see a draw, a low-scoring game potentially. And I could also see potentially both teams conceding. So a 1-1 is probably a fairly accurate prediction. Yeah, I think the fixture's quite tough for both of them, Newcastle and Brighton. That's probably the main reason why. I've got Ming starting. Should I... Oh, yeah, let me just deal with the spamming. One second. All right. I've got Ming starting. Should I be worried about Everton? I'm not sure if Mings even starts. That's my main concern. I wouldn't be that concerned about Everton, but Aston Villa's defence doesn't fill me with confidence. And to be honest, I shouldn't have gone for Matty Cash myself. Mendy or Sanchez? Thanks, Dylan. I actually prefer Sanchez in the long run right now. But there are better options, I think, in goal. Nick Pope, Ramsdale. I'm still really unsure on Mahrez. Have him in my team. Might move him on for Saka. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I'd keep Mahrez for now because I could see a huge haul in Game Week 2 if he starts against Bournemouth. If he doesn't, you can move to Saka, Diaz, Mason Mount, Maddison in Game Week 3. Start Zinchenko, Pereira. I'd start Zinchenko. Neto versus Reece James versus Bailey. I prefer Bailey, then maybe Neto, then James. But that's really tough. And yeah, benching Reece James isn't something I'd really recommend in the long run. What do you think? KDB, Son. I like KDB much more in Game Week 2, but in the next 5 game weeks, I think Son scores more points. I love how under-captain the best FPL asset of all time is. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, that is a really big plus and a great reason to captain him. But ultimately, captain the player you think is going to score the most points. And it takes much more for Haaland to outscore Salah because he's a forward. But I could see a huge haul for Erling Haaland. And City have a ridiculous record, by the way, against Bournemouth. I think in the last, I'm not sure how many games, it might be 5-7 games. I think City have scored 30, something ridiculous. They've conceded 5. I need to check this stat because I'm not sure about the games stat I just mentioned there. Your top 3 captaincy players in order. Haaland, Salah, De Bruyne. Probably in that order. Sorry. So yeah, let me get this right, Ray. So no, I'll play Jesus, Mitrovic, and Haaland, or I can save transfer and play Jesus, Mitrovic, and Kane. Fair enough. I'd save the transfer potentially. The thing is though, if you can just do Kane to Haaland without taking a hit, I mean, I've done it myself, and that's just the way to go personally. But there's nothing wrong with keeping Kane. So yeah, I think I'd probably do the move, but you don't have to, Roy. Is De Bruyne a good captaincy shout this week? He's one of the best. I think he's a fantastic shout. The best differential captaincy option this week. Should I put Declan Rice? No. I just don't really see attacking returns for him in the long run. Start Perisic or Andreas Pereira? I'd probably still risk it with Perisic, but yeah, it's a difficult one. You know, he's facing Chelsea and he's probably going to come off the bench. And if that's what you think as well, maybe you're going to disagree with my point of view there. Cucurella or Tierney? Cucurella. Alvarez or Mbeumo? Also my team: Raya, Trent, Walker, James, Trippier, Martinelli, Salah, Bailey, Kane, Jesus, Haaland, bench to Silva, Williams, Pereira. I want to start Pereira over James, but feel scared. No, I get what you mean. I wouldn't start Pereira over James, but I maybe would start Bailey, you know, the likes of Neto, who you don't have, over Reece James. I think your team looks fine, to be honest. I'm not convinced about a clean sheet for Raya, but the defense looks good. Your midfield's solid. I mean, there's not much to really say about the team for Game Week 2 specifically. I know it's a bit boring for most of us, but I think I just roll, basically. How do you think Coutinho will do? I'm not a big fan of him, FPL-wise, right now, but I think he will do all right. Maybe an assist or something like that. I'm not sure exactly about the points, but I could see Villa winning the game and scoring maybe 2 goals. Alvarez and Mbeumo, yeah, answer that question, mate. No spamming. Would you prefer Mount for Saka or Martinelli for long term? I'd rather have Martinelli, just because with that extra 2 million you can do a lot. Once Smith Rowe's kind of fully fit and he takes minutes off Martinelli and starts, that's when I would look elsewhere potentially. Hey mate, Hwang or Lingard? I'd probably say Lingard, but I haven't seen enough from either of them, especially Lingard at Nottingham Forest, to really recommend them. I'd rather just go for Martinelli around the same price. Should I hold Rashford for this week? I can do 2 transfers next week and upgrade him to an 8 million midfielder. In that case, I'd keep Rashford. Play James or Trippier? I would play James. I have Bailey, Andreas, James, and Gabrielle. Which 2 would you play? I would start Bailey and Reece James. Hi Dylan, tuning in for the first time this season. Nice to see you again. Thank you, Sharia. And yes, it's been a long time, mate. What about Trossard? The thing is, he did play as a wing-back against United, which does put me off, but he was a great option at the tail end of last season, I have to say. Well, we talked about Mitrovic, Alex, in my transfer tips video, and I did talk about buying him, and I mean, he's one of the most popular options in terms of transfers in this week. I have to say he's a great option around this price, but he still has a few mixed fixtures, but as he proved against Liverpool, I don't think it means that much in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, tackle, good team. Not too convinced about a clean sheet necessarily for Sanchez, but it's fine. You know, your defense is good. You've got Cancelo and Trent. Mars, if he starts, is gold, I think. Diaz, Salah, Jesus, Haaland. It's a good team. I'd just be concerned about if Mara starts, really, for this week. I wouldn't make a transfer. Mars is Saka, but go watch the game. Exactly. I'd probably just make the move in Game Week 3, potentially, especially if Mars is benched. Like you said, Bournemouth is very tempting, as Man City have a ridiculous record against Bournemouth. I don't trust Kane against Chelsea. Yeah, but this is the thing, though. Kane can score against anyone. And look, I think if Spurs score, as much as they scored 4 goals in Game Week 1 and Kane and Son weren't really involved, you know, those two are always going to be there, using the bulk of the points and the goals and the assists. I'd still trust Kane. It's just Haaland looks fantastic at the moment and he plays in a better team. Should I do Kane to Haaland and Saka to Martinelli on a -4? No, I wouldn't take a -4 personally. Tony for Neto. If it's not for a -4 or something like that, then yes, I'd rather have Tony. Yeah. I didn't. I had wildcard to transfer in Haaland for Kane. Wow. Any 4.5 million goalkeeper to recommend? Probably Sanchez is my favourite, and you can rotate him with Ward. There's a really nice rotation between Leicester and Brighton. Morning, Dylan from sunny west of Ireland. That's a really weird sentence. Sunny Island. Any early Villa news? Not that I'm aware of. I'm going to check again, but I don't think there's anything on Twitter. But if anyone sees anything from a reliable source, be sure to let me know. But I don't think there's anything right now. Let me see if there's any in the nose that I can maybe check out and see if they've said anything. But I don't see anything. No, I don't see anything. right now. But I think Bailey starts, Cyril. What transfers do you think you'll make in the upcoming weeks? That's a fantastic question. So I think some transfers that I am heavily considering is probably a way to get an 8 million midfielder, if anything. And that could involve downgrading my defence a little bit. So it could be Reece James, it could be Robertson or Cash making way. I think really the main problem of my team is game weeks 4 to 7. You've got Cash and Bailey who've got an absolutely awful set of fixtures. So they would be on the top of my list in terms of players I really need to shuffle around. So Matty Cash could become a 4 million defender or 4.5 potentially. I could also consider Trippier, for example, if I want to remain big at the back. And then I could just play 5-3-2 most weeks with Bailey and Neto rotating maybe. But yeah, I think the Villa players is what I'm mainly considering shuffling about. And it's a big problem with my team. Samuel, yeah, your team's good. Wow, you got the Chelsea double up. I don't like your Chelsea triple up defensively with Mendy. I have to say that. But look, if you back him for clean sheets, it's absolutely fine. Saint-Maximin, yes, he had a good game against Nottingham Forest, but I don't trust him for FPL points. So those would be my concerns. Having triple Chelsea defensive coverage and also having Saint-Maximin. The rest looks great, though, I have to say. And Salah and Son, looks fantastic. Good morning, Dylan. How can Doherty go down in price when he's extremely low owned? Probably just the amount of people who transfer in and out. And also there's an element of manipulation from the powers that be at FPL headquarters, I think. So that's really it. It's mainly based on transfer activity, as we're led to believe. Have Perisic, James, Podence, and Bailey roll and bench Perisic, or Perisic to Walker and bench one of them. Look, for this game week, you'll benefit a lot from doing Perisic to Walker. But honestly, I would just start James, Podence, and Bailey, and I'd roll the transfer. Hi, if you had to play two of the following in the game week, who would you pick? Bailey, Neto, James? Probably Bailey and Neto. Hey, Dylan, would you start Raya or Ward? Oof, I'd probably start Raya. Rolling the transfer this week, transferring in the Silva and Reece James in for Neto and Trippier. What are your thoughts? For next week, I do like Reece James, but to be honest, Neto and Trippier is a nice double up. And I like Neto for the first 6 game weeks. And then after that, that's where you probably can jump off the Wolves players. But Trippier is a good option long term. And the fact that you've got maybe Neto, Trippier, and you've got other options as well to cover for the Newcastle fullback, you know, that gives you good squad depth and also plenty of options. And I actually prefer that duo, potentially, Neto and Trippier. Thinking of Bowen in for Mount, 0.5 in the bank with your wildcard next week. I think that's fine. If you're wildcarding next week and you're set on that, I would probably do it. Long time no see. Wow, I'm really far behind in the chart, aren't I? Yeah, oh my god, Jesus. Joined the last stream, but it collapsed. Yeah, I had a power cut. I was on holiday, and just before that, I think I was having some internet issues anyway. It was very frustrating, I can't lie, because I did a lot of tests to make sure everything was right. You know, there's no drop frames, everything was green, but it is what it is. FPL's like gambling, nothing is sure until the end results. That's the thing, and there's a lot of hindsight, there's a lot of recency bias, there's a lot of things that go into it, but look, sometimes it's about luck. It's as simple as that. Thanks, pal. We'll check out your first time here. Thank you, Alex. It's much appreciated, mate. And yeah, Mitrovic is, it's not someone I discussed a lot in this stream, but I have discussed him a lot in the best budget forwards and also in the transfer tips, the first transfer tips video of the season. Bailey or Neto? I prefer Bailey this week. Zaha or Bailey? Bailey. Start Andreas over Dallo? Yes, I probably would. Andres Pereira or Cash? Cash. Who should I go after selling Mahrez and Bailey? I wouldn't sell them, to be honest, but from 8 million midfielders, it's Saka, Diaz, Mount. I like Maddison a lot, but I would only have started, Maddison in game week 1. Bringing him right now when he faces Arsenal, not a big fan of that. I like the game week 3 fixture though. As for Bailey, you've got Martinelli, really, around the same price, but there's not that many. And that's the big kind of negative about Bailey. It's very hard to get off him. Pereira or Cash? Yep, answered that already, mate. Hey Dylan, who is a good Matt Cash replacement? Sinchenko and Trippier are probably the 2 best ones for me. Cucurella Christensen. I think Cucurella once he's nailed. Let me just deal with some spammers. Sorry about that. Best family mid is still Bailey for me. I think he's the best one. Not Bailey. Okay, fair enough. I'd probably say Dewsbury Hall, but look, he's someone I discussed in the best budget midfielders video, and the goal he scored was a long-range effort. He did say, though, in his interview that he's looking to become an all-rounded midfielder and add goals and assists to his name. So that's something he's actively looking to do, so he could be a great option. And he's just, in terms of not just FPL, just how he plays overall, he's a really impressive player at 5 million. Trossard or Alvarez? Trossard. Start Andreas over Dallo? Yes. Diaz or Bailey? Who to start? Diaz. If Luis Diaz? Definitely Luis Diaz. Risk with KDB captaincy or play safe? Captain whoever you think is going to score more points. If it's KDB, go for it. If I had KDB, I'd be very tempted to captain him. I can't lie, and it's 50-50 with Salah. It's very, very close. I think they're both fighting for the second best captaincy option this week. But obviously, look, any of them can haul. Opinions on Jesus captain? He's got 5 goals in 7 games against Leicester. He's never lost against them, so it's not a bad shout, but he is playing for Arsenal now. I still think there's better options elsewhere, but he's not a bad shout. Thoughts on Allison in for Neto? That's something I'd look to do in the weeks to come, not right now. Sell Rashford for Harrison or keep the change? I'd keep him for now. I keep Rashford for now for Game Week 2 and then maybe sell in Game Week 3. And you've got more options. You can maybe do 2 transfers, for example, and make a downgrade elsewhere. Best replacement for Sancho? At 8 million, if you have that money, Saka, Diaz and Mount. Otherwise, you're mainly looking at Martinelli, perhaps Barnes when he's back from injury. There's not too many choices at the moment, I think. Players on your watch list, for me, it's Maddison, Trippier, De Silva, Podence, Dewsbury Hall. It's a good question. I think, yeah, for me, it's Saka. The thing is that I already have 3 Arsenal players. Diaz, he was very impressive in Game Week 1, and he just needs to get those goals and assists, but he was very unlucky not to get them in Game Week 1. Mason Mount is still on my watch list. In the defence, I think it's mainly Perisic once he's nailed. Zinchenko, Trippier for sure. In the forward line, it's Nunez. He's really, he's really impressed me. And Tony, Callum Wilson. That's kind of my watch list at the moment. Yeah, Jabier, I think I answered your question already. If not, we're just going to go for it anyway. Ramsdale, Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, Vice, Andreas, Grealish, Martinelli, Salah. I would start James over Andres Pereira personally, but I would roll the transfer, and the captaincy is fine. Yeah. Could I make Kane to Haaland because of the price rise? I'm not making the -4 move, and Spurs fixtures are getting better. What do you think of getting Foden soon instead? Look, Foden's a good option, but I think there are better 8 million midfielders out there. So, honestly, I'd probably just keep what you have. Let me just go back to a question again because of the spammers. So, yeah, that's fair enough. I think you can just keep Kane for the next few game weeks and see how he does. I don't think there's a huge difference between the two. And yeah, -4 move is not worth it at all. I completely agree. Yeah, it depends who you get Foden in for as well, but I think there's better 8 million midfielders. Start Patterson or White? I'd start White. So Rashford for Harrison? Yeah, like I said, I'd just keep Rashford for now. Reliable source, Haaland will score 5 goals against Bournemouth. If he scores 5 goals, that's probably the best captaincy I've ever done, to be honest. Pick 2 to start, Andreas, Neto, Bailey and Trippier. I would pick Bailey and Neto. Keep Sancho. If you've not really got any other alternatives to go to, like an 8 million midfielder or Martinelli, I'd keep for now, but I would probably look to sell in the next few weeks, like Game Week 3. Start Trippier or James. I would start James, actually. Yep. Alex puts Raya, Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, James, Nico Williams, Salah, Bailey, Andres Pereira, Kane, Haaland, Mitrovic. Managed to get the 3 big boys. That looks pretty good. I like that. And my only concern is Nico Williams starting, and Raya, I'm not too sure about Brentford keeping clean sheets, even if they do well this season. But the rest looks fantastic, I have to say. And also, was it Andres Pereira? Yeah. You do have, obviously, a really good front line. You've got Kane, Haaland and Salah, but I would rather maybe downgrade Kane to Nunez or Jesus, or maybe another 7 to 7.5 million forward like Tony and Callum Wilson. And that also enables you to improve on Andres Pereira and Nico Williams in your starting 11. That's just the way I see it, though. But it should do well this week. Is Pickford a good shout? Yeah, Cody's about to join Everton, and it does benefit them. He's really good in the back three, and that's where they tend to play, but I don't trust Everton defensively. I don't trust Everton at all. Thoughts on Fornals and Tony? I like Fornals around his price, but I haven't seen enough from him and West Ham yet. Obviously, they faced City, and they just didn't get a sniff of the ball. But he is one of the best options around 5.5 million. As for Tony, he is on my watch list, like I said earlier. Yeah, he's impressive. He's got great fixtures as well. Martinelli or Neto to start? Martinelli. Yeah, Martinelli. Any suggestions for the 6 to 8 million midfielders? Already are Martinelli. Well, was it 6.8? If it's 6.8, you don't really have too many other options at the moment, I'd say. Obviously, Rashford was someone I recommended a lot in pre-season, but hasn't really done it yet this season. I think Aronson is someone to look at 5.5. Yeah, Trossard is someone that could be decent. Grosh, but I am put off the fact that Trossard plays a wing-back pretty much. Phil Bournemouth will trouble City a lot. They could. I mean, they actually were pretty, surprising in winning against Aston Villa in Gameweek 1. They could be a bit more difficult than anticipated. Pick Andreas or Perisic. I'd go for Perisic, but it's more risky. Is Almiron a good option? No, not for me. Who to bench? Trippier, Bailey, James, Neto. I would bench Trippier. Dylan, do you have any ideas why Nick Pope's name was viral on Twitter yesterday? I think like Burger King or something like that tweeted his name and then it just went viral. Pretty much that. Martinez to Mendy next week. I don't like goalkeeper transfers. I would rather go for Ramsdale, personally, or Nick Pope. I wouldn't do it next week, though, when he faces Liverpool, I think, or if not, City. I think it's City. Yeah, but that's not a bad shout, I guess. I mean, look, Martinez from Gameweeks 4 to 7 looks pretty awful. Salah, Haaland captain. I'm going for Haaland, but it's really close. I might make Sancho to any 8 million midfielder. Currently thinking about Foden. Might not go Saka since double up. Yeah, I agree with that. I can understand. Maybe Diaz or Mount, though. I prefer them over Foden. In Gameweek 2 specifically, of course, Foden looks great. I've swapped Williams for Martinelli. Yeah, that looks great. That looks great, yeah. Rashford or Eriksen? I'd still go for Rashford. He had big chances. If he can get his shooting boots on, he's obviously going to get some returns, and especially in those games against Brentford, for example, where I could see a high-scoring game. But yeah, I'd go for Rashford. I have Sharon Dunk, who to use for or -4 White for either or both. No, I wouldn't -4 for White this week. I'd just keep Sharon Dunk, and I'd start Share. I'd start Share. Neto, Bailey, Andreas, Trippier, start any two. Neto and Bailey. Let's go, Dylan. Another great year of FPL content from you. Thank you, mate. It's much appreciated. Like I said, Harish, no, he's not. I don't think Almiron's a good option. Podence or Neto better? I still prefer Neto, but obviously Podence got the goal last week. In the long term, do I transfer Raya or keep him? I'd probably transfer him out, but just wait and see, because if Brentford start keeping some clean sheets, then what I say in a few weeks' time will become irrelevant, really. But at the moment, I'm not that convinced about Brentford defensively, and I even said this in pre-season as well. Cash over James? Yes. I say yes. I mean, I'm not even too sure about that. I mean, I've got James starting over him. It's really tough because I could see a clean sheet for Villa, as bad as they are defensively against Everton. I think I'd still go for James. Play Perisic or Bailey or Neto. I'd probably just bench Perisic, yeah, and I'd start Bailey out of the lot. Thoughts about Andreas for Neto? No, I'd start Neto for me. Gee, I don't know where these sites come from, honestly. Very, very dodgy. Who to start? Dallo, Cucurella, Andres Pereira. I'd start Andres Pereira, actually. Thank you, Alex, and good luck to you as well. Captain Haaland or Salah? Mate, it's completely up to you. I'm going for Haaland, and I think there's a good merit between both of them. They're probably in the top 2 captaincy options this week. I prefer Haaland. I just think the fixture's better, and I can see City scoring 3 or 4, and Haaland being a big part of that. But will Rashford start since Ronaldo's back? That's a good question. I think he'll start on the left, and Ronaldo starts up front. Bruno as the attacking midfielder, and Sancho on the right. But yeah, obviously Rashford's mage. The thing is with Rashford, he's got the potential to really haul big, but his finishing and confidence is absolutely shot right now. Kane out from -4? No, I wouldn't do it -4. I'm still eyeing Mitrovic, Grealish, Wissa. Yeah, I agree. What are we thinking on Wolves' new signing Guedes? Yeah, that's also a good shout. Is he worth 0.5 million more than the likes of Neto and Podence? It's really early to say, and he needs to acclimatise to his new team, but he was impressive at Valencia. Obviously scored that winning goal in the Nations League final for Portugal. Thing is with Guedes, look, he had a lot of potential. I don't think he's fulfilled it just yet. He could be a good signing for Wolves, but I prefer Neto and Podence right now. I just want to wait and see how he does first. When it's a player of Haaland's quality, I'd be a bit more inclined to start the season with him, but not when Guedes, there's still a few question marks about how quickly he'll adapt and also the team he's playing for. I want to sell Kane to Tony. Don't you think Tony can score a hat-trick against United? He could, but I don't think he's going to score a hat-trick. I think he'll score 1 or 2. I wouldn't sell Kane to Tony, to be honest. Like I said in my transfer tips and in the stream, I would only sell Kane to Haaland. Maybe Nunez at a push. Not to anyone else this week. The Silver thoughts? I think him and Pereira are the best two 4.5 million options this season. And also, apart from Bailey, probably the best 5 million and below midfielders on offer. Also on Foden, he's a good option. And I think he's probably one of the best midfielders to have in Game Week 2. But over the next 5-10 game weeks over the course of the season, I could see other 8 million midfielders doing better. Triple captain Haaland, and if he scores, you'll pay me £10, and if he doesn't, I'll pay you £5. A bit of a disparity there, £5 to £10, but to be honest, I'm just not going to triple captain him. I'm just pretty settled on that, to be honest. Imagine City lose to Bournemouth. It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but the way City played against West Ham, and look, Bournemouth were impressive in Game Week 1. I think City will score at least 3 goals. Vieira taking whose spot in Arsenal? Not necessarily a case of taking spots. I think he's going to be kind of a bench player. And rotating and mainly playing in the Europa League and the Cups. But Arteta actually said himself he doesn't know his best position right now, and it's more a case of Vieira telling them, because he can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play as a midfielder, attacking midfielder just off the striker, so he's very versatile. Neto or Alvarez? Neto. I'm still eyeing... Yeah, I already answered that question. What are you saying? Saka, I think he's the best 8 million midfielder. The problem is I already have double Arsenal attack and also 3 Arsenal players. Should I bench Zinchenko? For who though? Would you guys start James or Bailey? I'd probably start Bailey, but that's just a personal opinion. Kane or Salah captain? Salah easily for me. Best season I've ever had last season. Your videos and advice really helped. It's great to hear, Jay Donny, but obviously it's all down to you. Mucho apreciato. Mucho apreciato. How's my team? Ward, James, Trent, Cancelo, Robertson, Salah, Saka, Bailey, Martinelli, Haaland, and Jesus. It looks great, to be honest. My main concern is your goalkeeper. I don't see a clean sheet there, but your defense looks solid. I mean, I like the team a lot. It's just the 4 million goalkeepers that put me off, but it does facilitate your other players. Yeah, like I said before, I'd start Neto and Bailey. I'm not having James can hurt me. True one, false. I have Creswell instead. I don't think James will punish you that much in Game Week 2. So don't worry about it right now. You can make the switch in Game Week 3. I think Creswell will probably do better this week, actually, if anything. Play Kane or Andreas? Kane all day long. I have a vision that this season Salah will have another 300 plus points at the end of the season. The thing is, I thought he was going to do it last season when, he was absolutely ridiculous in the first half of the campaign, but he just kind of eased off a little bit, and the African Cup of Nations didn't help at all. If Zinchenko plays midfield, which position he plays? Left centre mid, pretty much. But the thing is with Arsenal, it's a bit similar to City. The fullbacks kind of sometimes tucking as midfielders, and you've in essence got kind of like a 2-3-5 going on. So you've got Partey dropping a bit deeper, then you've got Zinchenko to the left of him, you've got also Tomiyasu or Ben White to the right of him, and then you've got all the attacking options right in front of them. So look, with Zinchenko, I think he's mainly going to play as a left back, but it's an inverted left back. Arteta loves those. Salah worth 13 million when I'm not planning on captaining him anytime soon. Well, in that case, you don't necessarily need Salah, if you know what I mean. But the thing is, it does mitigate also the risk of going without him. There's always going to be, pro and against arguments, but the main reason behind having a Salah and a Haaland is because you want to captain these players. And that's why a lot of people are getting rid of Kane, because they don't see themselves captaining Kane in a lot of these weeks. Do you think Mahrez will start? Yes, but to be honest, it's an absolute minefield, as always. And Mahrez, we talked about him in pre-season. He should be a bit more nailed with Jesus and Sterling leaving, but once again, they kind of move Foden to the right wing. It's just not ideal. My defense is James, Arnold, Cancelo, and Roberts. Should I bench Zinchenko? Yes. However, I would consider starting him over James, but the others do not bench them for Zinchenko at all. Did you see Tyrone Mings is starting, confirmed by David Ornstein? Wow, that's a bit weird. Ornstein doesn't tend to confirm people starting, which is quite odd. He tends to obviously do kind of transfer news. Let me check that, but thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, exclusive. Tyrone Mings expected to start for Aston Villa versus Everton after losing captaincy and being unused sub as Bournemouth. 29-year-old centre-back set for recall by Aston Villa boss Steven Gerrard to partner Diego Carlos ahead of Ezri Konsa. Okay, so that's good news. I saw someone earlier with Tyrone Mings. That's good news for you, mate. Tyrone Mings is starting, and he could be a good option. I'm going to bring up on screen just so you can see. This could be a good. This could be good for Aston Villa's prospects of a clean sheet potentially. I'm still considering making that switch from Cash to maybe Neto or Bailey. Do you have plans to cover Tottenham's attack for later game weeks? Well, I just lost Kane. Really, the easiest way to do it is to do Salah to Son or Haaland to Kane again. But I'm quite prepared to go about Spurs attack for now. If Perisic is nailed, I can bring in Perisic for my 5 million defender, which is cash in this instance. After loss of AFCON, Salah's confidence got shattered. I mean, that plays a part of it, but I think also just the disruption in terms of, it disrupts the rhythm. He was in great form. Even just before that, to be fair, around January, his form kind of dipped, I'd say. I think he got a huge haul. I think shortly after coming back from the African Cup of Nations. I think it was game week 26, was it? Or something like that. But that haul was very inflated, with the penalties and stuff like that. But look, Salah's Salah. You saw what he did in pre-season and also in game week 1. He's a great player. And he tends to start the season very strongly. Would Mahrez start? I can't tell you if he is going to start or not. I think he will. But honestly, if you look at what happened in game week 1, nothing's certain. How many minutes do you see Haaland playing? Similar to last week, I think 75. Choose to Trippier, Neto and Bailey. Once again, mate, Neto and Bailey. Any news about Bailey starting or not? No news. Game week 3 transfer targets. That's a good question. It's tough because with my team, I'm mainly looking at the Aston Villa players to make way. So it'd be cash making way for maybe Paris if he ends up being nailed. You've got maybe a 5 million defender like Zinchenko or Trippier. But to be honest, right now, there's no one in mind. I want to see how Game Week 2 evolves, and then we can see maybe some more options pop up about, Aronson could become a great shout in the weeks to come, for example. Any news? Oh, yeah, just said that. Haaland a better asset than Salah already? No, Salah's still a better option overall. Bailey's performance in the first game, just nothing really worth of note. I think he was one of the better Villa players, but he wasn't that great. I think Neto was better in Game Week 1. Who would you captain this week? Jesus, Haaland or Saka? Haaland, easily. What do you think? Keeping Kane is good? Yep. I mean, look, I prefer Haaland right now, and that's why I made the switch, but I think keeping Kane's fine. I have Son. Should I replace him with Haaland? If it's for a -4, well, it will be for a -4, wouldn't it? No, I wouldn't do it. Haaland or Darwin Nunez captain? Haaland. Hi, everyone, just shortly tuning in. Good to see you, the Flying Dutchman. Get rid of Mahrez for a -4. I just keep him for now, and then maybe sell him in Game Week 3 for free. I have Son. No. Yeah, okay, no spamming, mate. No spamming. So should I play Zinchenko over James or bench him? I'd play Zinchenko over James, but it's very close between those two. I'd start Andreas over Dallo, Sharia. Dylan, thoughts on removing Mount for Saka or Foden for a -4? I wouldn't do it for a -4. I'd just keep Mount and maybe do that transfer in a few weeks' time, potentially. As a Haaland and Kane owner, can I sell Kane for Tony or Mitrovic? Well, you can do it, but I just don't see the need to do it right now. You can just keep Kane for the next few weeks. You made a decision to go for 2 strikers. And, once maybe game week 4, 5, 6, you can make that move. Then Spurs' fixtures kind of take a toll for the worse. And then you can upgrade your midfield. And I think that's when Mitrovic's fixtures start getting better, actually. Obviously, Tony's fixtures are really good from game week 3 onwards. But look, I don't think you need to sell Kane. Bench James or Bailey? James, I'd bench James. Cash versus or Bailey? I'm facing the same dilemma. I'm going for Bailey at the moment, but it's really close. Triple captain Haaland, it's a great shout. And look, if you back Haaland for a mega haul, I'd go for it, but I'm not going for it right now myself. Salah KDB captain, I'm going for Salah. Let me know now, by the way. I'm not sure why it's lagging, because the connection's all fine here at the moment, apparently. But yeah, let me know. Let me see if I can do anything. But yeah, if the voice is lagging, let me know. 20 minutes left. Salah's always showing up. Pep's roulette maybe could affect Haaland. Who to captain? I don't think Haaland's going to be benched. It'd be crazy. I mean, don't underestimate Pep, but I just don't see that happening. Thoughts on Diaz to Grosh, Game Week 3, and then Archer to Tony in Game Week 4? I still wouldn't do that, Fahad. I still think Diaz is a better option. Rashford or Coutinho? Probably still Rashford, just because United's fixtures are better, and I also was a bit more encouraged by the chances Rashford was getting. Bailey or Gabrielle? I'd go for Bailey. Should I bench Mahrez for Andreas? No, I wouldn't. If you have Mahrez, I'd start him. Start James or Trippier. I'd start Reece James, but just about. It's very, very close. Let's now go back to my FPL team, and yeah, here we go. Here is how I'm lining up. I'm very apprehensive about benching Cash. I have to say, I'm very apprehensive. And I could arguably bench Reece James. Oh my god, it's huge dilemmas here right now. But yeah, I'll put up another poll out very shortly. Start Bailey or Reece James? I'd start Bailey. Cash or Bailey to bench, bro? I'm benching Cash at the moment, so that will be my answer, but that's not necessarily the right one. It's very close. I think Villa could keep a clean sheet against Everton, especially with no striker. Calvert-Lewin's injured. And who are they going to play up there? Because Gordon was lost. And you know, they're putting some good delivery in, but Gordon's not the type to really be on the end of that. And Everton, a big part of their play is those crosses into the box. But look, it's really, really close. I'm going to put a poll out since it's a very, very popular question. So let's do this. So James, Neto, Bailey, and Cash. So let's see. We did put a kind of similar one earlier, who to start. And we had kind of a clear loser in that, in Matty Cash. So let's see how this goes. But I think most people wouldn't go for benching James. Should I do Williams and Kulusevski for Bowen and Cash, or Truss and the Silva for Neto and Bruno Guimaraes? I don't see the reason to do a -4, to be honest. But if anything, Bowen and Cash. But then in a few weeks' time, you want to get rid of Cash. That's the thing. So I just don't really know about that. Jesus to Darwin Nunez. I'd keep Jesus for now, but that's not a bad shout. Bailey is already starting to trend on Twitter. Yeah, everyone wants to know if he's starting, because I think if he does, he could have a pretty good haul. Should I sell Kane to Haaland or roll the transfer to get 2 free transfers? If you're planning on captaining Haaland this week and you really want to have him, I'd sell Kane. But otherwise, there's not a huge need, I'd say. I think there will be a big difference in points between the two. But I also thought the same about Game Week 1, and that's why I started with Kane. I thought Kane would get a double-digit return and Haaland would get maybe 6 points or something like that, maybe 6 to 8. And there you go. Things can change very quickly. Continue to Saka, or should I hold off to get 2 transfers next week? That's a good question. I'd probably go to Saka right now, to be honest. But there's no problem with keeping Coutinho for now and then doing it next week. Cash and Bailey both starting for me. Should I bench one of them and start Andreas? I'd start both of them over Andreas. Jesus to Darwin Nunez. Like I said before, mate, I just keep Jesus, but it's up to you. It's completely up to you. Let's see how this poll is evolving. So most of you saying bench Cash. Wow, that's a clear winner there. And wow, James has actually got more than I expected there. It's pretty impressive. So let me just deal with this spammer again. Jesus Christ, where did they come from? I didn't even see any in the Game Week 1 deadline stream, which is great. So let's see what we're looking like right now. So yeah, we're on 119 likes. Let's try to get this to 150. It'd be much appreciated. And we are getting ever closer to 12,000 subscribers. So it'd be very much appreciated if we can get to that. And yeah, we're making a bit of progress there, but still a bit of a way to go. So we are around, what, 181 subscribers away from that milestone. So just keep on smashing the subscribe button, and let's also get to more likes as well. But yeah, we're approaching the deadline. I've still got Cash on my bench. There you go. I'd start Perisic on the rocks, but it's definitely much more risky. Do you reckon Mahrez starts? I think he does, but that's obviously a very outside shout. And based on what we saw in Game Week 1, Foden could easily play as the right winger again. I've got Maddison 2 playing Arsenal. I'd still keep Maddison because you also got the Game Week 3 fixture, which is great. You can then sell Maddison in Game Week 4 though. Who should I captain? Should I change Mahrez? Far too much rotation at City. I think in Game Week 3, that's when I look to sell Mahrez, and you can go to Saka, Diaz, Mount. I think those are the best ones. Buy Mitrovic or Tony? That's a really good question. That is one I'm going to be very conflicted about. I'd still go for Tony right now. But that's really tough. And that's really because of the fixtures. Neto or Mount, help please. To start, I'd still go for Mount. Should I captain Trent or Cancelo instead of Salah for a differential captain? Only if you think they're going to score as many points or more, mate. Well, not as many. If you think they're going to score more points. Otherwise, just go for Salah. I would go for Salah. And if you had to choose a differential captaincy from those you mentioned, I'd rather go for Cancelo. The QN is Bailey starting. Okay, I'm going to check now. Sell Dean for Walker. It's a good short-term transfer, Ayub, but I don't think it's long-term because City have just signed a left-back, and that could also push Cancelo to the right, and Walker loses minutes as a result. Also, I'm keeping Kane. I would keep Kane if you don't sell him for Haaland or maybe perhaps Nunez, but I would just keep Kane in all other circumstances. I wouldn't downgrade him to Mitrovic or Tony, for example, just yet. I've gone for Walker instead of Cancelo to upgrade Neto to Saka. Right decision. I think in the short term, it's good, but not in the long term. I think Cancelo will score a big amount of points more than Walker and get more minutes. Obviously, the Neto to Saka upgrade is huge as well. You've got to factor that in. But I would be concerned about Walker's minutes in the long run now. Bench Gabrielle. Oh, okay. No, for a second it's going to be Gabriel Jesus. Gabrielle, James, or Walker. I would bench Gabrielle. It's a bit of a tricky one because Gabrielle has goal threat. If it was Zinchenko, James, I would start Zinchenko and bench James. Trossard or Alvarez, I'd start Trossard. Neto or James, Neto. Should I start Zinchenko over James this week? Yes, I probably would. Which Arsenal defender do you fancy the most? Zinchenko, but the best defensive coverage for me is Ramsdale. Looking to get one to afford Haaland. Yeah, it'd be Zinchenko. Hello, Dylan. Should I start Walker and James, Walker and Bailey, James and Bailey? I would probably go for Walker and Bailey. Going for Rashford as my differential this week. Hope it pays off. It could. He got the chances in Game Week 1, and he's a confidence player. And Brentford's a good fixture. Yeah, Hadi, I answered your question a few times, mate. So, yeah. Bench one of Neto, Bailey, and James. I'd bench James. Thoughts on Ward-Prowse? Look, his set-piece threat makes him always a good option from that point of view, but I still think there's better choices like Martinelli around the same price. But yeah, he's always going to be up there, and I think he could be another kind of top 10, top 15 midfielder this season. But yeah, Southampton are a bit of an iffy team, aren't they? So we are now 11 minutes away. We're very, very close from the deadline. So if you've got any more questions, any more queries, any more polls you want to see, then let me know. And wow, this poll is very, very close. Yeah, that's pretty close between Bailey and Cash. Hey Dylan, is Perisic starting? I can't tell you for sure, but I don't think he does. Like I said, Manish, Bowen and Cash is my preference, but to be honest, I just keep Williams and Kulusevski. I don't think it's worth a -4. I've got Neto, James on the bench. I'm now starting Mount and Zinchenko, Captain Haaland. Let's go. That looks great, Alfie. That looks great. And but yeah, benching Neto and James is well, you've got a lot of squad depth. I can't lie, you've got a lot of squad depth. Hello, who do I start? Nico, Andreas, or Patterson? I'd start Andreas Pereira. Game Week 4, Cash and Luis Diaz or Grosh and Robertson. Cash and Diaz, but the thing is, you wouldn't bring Cash in Game Week 4, would you? That's the thing. I'd rather go for another 5 million defender, so Trippier or Zinchenko. Is it too risky to captain Trent? It's fine, though. I think Trent's a great captaincy option, but I'd rather go for an attacker, and I'd also rather go for Cancelo if you were looking for a defender. Should I start Perisic? Depends who over, though. Play Bailey or Andreas? Bailey, for sure. Best 6 million midfielder? Martinelli, easily. I have a very similar team to you. Instead of Bailey, I have Rashford, and instead of Haaland, I have Kane. Should I make a transfer or hope Kane delivers, Haaland doesn't? That's a good question. I mean, this is the thing, though. I think there is merit to keeping Kane. He's no longer... It's not like he's suddenly just a bad option. He's still a great option. But I still think Haaland in Game Week 2 will outscore him significantly. And if you're looking to captain Haaland this week, then it is worth the transfer. Otherwise, it's fine. Will Grealish start? Yes, I think he does. No need to spam the chat, mate. And is he good? He's a decent option, but I don't think he's anything spectacular. Thoughts on Guedes? I think he's a good signing, but I would rather have Neto at the moment and Podence. And I'd wait and see with Guedes and see how he acclimatizes to his new club. Andreas or Odegaard? Who should I start? I'd start Odegaard. Start Bailey, Zinchenko, or James? I think both will not get a clean sheet. I'd start Bailey. Bailey to blank, I think, and Aronson to bang. It's definitely possible. Thank you on the rocks. Much appreciated, mate. Thank you very much. Are you making transfer next week? Probably. Well, I say probably. I've already used a transfer this week, so there is a possibility for me to actually roll a transfer in Game Week 3. So it's, I'd say 50-50 at the moment. Dylan, I have Bailey and Neto starting and Captain Haaland. That's completely fine, Jeremy. I mean, that's pretty much what I've got as well. And a lot of us are in agreement, I'd say. Haaland triple captain. I think it's a great shout. It's a great shout. I'm not looking to do it myself, but it's not a bad choice at all. Neto or Bailey or Podence. Is it or Pristis? Sorry if I'm being quite ignorant there. Or Pristis. But yeah, Neto, Bailey or Pristis. Or Perisic. Yeah, I'd bench Perisic. I'd bench Perisic. Start Neto or Bailey. I prefer Bailey, but that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Andreas or Bailey? Bailey. Who do you think will score more points? Patterson or Nico Williams? Patterson. Will Mahrez start? I think so, but I'd be very concerned. Do I need help? Do I need help? Ramsdale, Chilwell, Royale, Cancelo, Robertson, Rashford, Bailey, Bowen, Salah, Jesus, Haaland. That looks great. Not a big fan of Emerson Royale in Gameweek 2, but a clean sheet is possible. That's fine. That's a good team overall, mate. So annoying that Kane went down to 11.4 and Haaland up to 11.6. So if I were to make a transfer, I wouldn't know what to do. I'll probably roll it. Yeah, I wouldn't take a -4. Definitely not to do that. Thank you, Jay, for the shout out. Bench Bailey, Andreas in. I wouldn't do it personally, but it's up to you. I know a lot of people like what they saw with Andreas Pereira and not so much with Bailey. Should I captain Kane over Salah? Not for me. I think the ceiling is lower against Chelsea. Jack Harrison or Neto to bring in? Neto for me. When would you free hit? Not really something I've considered at the moment. Probably later for the season. I don't think I'd free hit just yet. If anything, an early wild card, maybe an early triple captain or bench boost, but I'm not too sure about the free hit. That's mainly for a double game week or a blank game week later on. Would you keep Rashford or a -4 for Trossard? I just keep Rashford for now, and then you could maybe do a set of 2 transfers next week, and you can get an 8 million midfielder, for example. Perisic out or hold? It depends who you can bring in, but I would probably get rid of him for someone like Zinchenko or Trippier. I have the exact same team. Good luck. Good luck to you as well. And if you do well, I do well, and vice versa. So, you know, hopefully we do. Our teams are exactly the same, except I have Walker and Kane instead of Trent and Cancelo. Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's impressive, though. You've got Kane, Haaland, and Salah. So, nice little freemium draft you've got there. Bailey on the bench. Is that... Let me see, actually. I saw... making a comment. If I see something about Bailey being benched, by the way, I'm going to bench him for cash. No doubt about it. It's definitely possible. Let me see. Leon Bailey. We're also hearing that Watkins and Buendia return to the lineup with Danny Ings and Leon Bailey dropping to the bench. Here we go. Big news, big news. Oh my God. So I'm going to make the change now before I run out of time. So there we go. Bailey. I talked him up all stream. Ignore everything I've said. So Neto or Bailey? I prefer Neto. There you go. So Bailey is on the bench. So there we go. Let me bring this up to you. I want to be completely transparent with everyone watching. So, Jesus Christ, this none of my things is working. All right, bear with me for a second. Well, yeah. Apologies for the bit of like stutter and lag. I'm not sure why that's happening. I think that's more of a performance issue rather than the internet. But here you go, David Ornstein. Thank you so much, David Ornstein. Exclusive. We are also hearing that Watkins and Buendia return to the lineup. Danny Ings and Bailey dropping to the bench. And also Mings is in the lineup. So I have made a change. And that is it. That is it. Look at it. Okay, no, I'm stupid, aren't I? I'm absolutely stupid. That is absolutely stupid. No. Do not... I just got trolled. Oh my God. That is not David Ornstein. Oh my God. This is why. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Let me just go back to my team. What an absolute mug I am. Absolutely stupid. By the way, I'm so stupid. I realized from the replies. So just ignore everything I just said now. Jesus Christ. Let me actually just check. David Ornstein. Was that first tweet even real about Mings? It probably was, by the way. I was thinking because... yeah. What an absolute mug. Jesus Christ. I was getting so... But there you go, and there you go. A bit of lag there as well. Well, let's see if Bailey starts. Let's see. But there are a few kind of, let's say, outlets like Birmingham Mail that predict Bailey to be on the bench. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. But Jesus Christ, I'm so stupid. I always check the Twitter handle. The username is just such a huge thing. I'm just so stupid. So yeah, just ignore. I hope we somehow get Villa team news. To be honest, I don't think we are, to be honest. Welcome to my team, Aronson. Yeah, well, we don't know if Bailey's going to be benched or not. That's just literally a troll. No, it's not true. It's not true. It's literally a troll. It's not. No. Completely ignore that. I mean, look, Bailey might not start, but it was literally a troll. I still prefer Bailey over Andreas, but obviously, you never know. You never know. Andreas or Dunk bench? I would bench Andreas Pereira. Who should I transfer out? Cash, Mahrez, or Mount? That's a great question. I probably would hold all of them for now, and in Game Week 4, I'd get rid of Cash. And also in Game Week 3, you could get rid of Mahrez. So that's the way I'd go about it. I would probably keep them for now. If you were to get rid of one in Game Week 2, it would be Mahrez. Yeah, absolute troll. It's a good troll, I can't lie, you know, fair play. That's like the first time I got quelled by something like that. But now, you know, it's good that it happened, you know, you learn from it. So Cash or Bailey? Honestly, it's 50-50. Cash is going to be much more likely to start, but I think if Bailey does start, I think he's in for a good amount of points, I think. I'm trying to check Twitter as well, you know, literally, I'm checking Twitter, and I just see absolutely nothing about Leon Bailey. I wish we got a bit of a lineup here. That is a good troll, I can't lie. Yeah, no, news coming out that Leon Bailey was scored. I'm just not seeing anything at all. Yeah, no, nothing on Twitter. You know what? I'm just gonna go back with Bailey. I'm gonna risk it and put Bailey in. So yeah, do not. This is why it's so important to check your sources as well. A lot of people actually fall for this stuff on a regular basis. Obviously, it happened to me just now on stream, which is even more embarrassing. But there you go. I am just going to start Bailey over Cash. That is my kind of preference, just because I think Bailey's ceiling is higher if he indeed starts. But of course, Cash is definitely a good choice. Cash or Bailey? Yep, I'd go for Bailey right now. Perisic or Andreas bench? I would start Perisic just in the odd chance that he does start. Welcome, Jeff Johns. Neto or Mbeumo, who to bench? I would bench Mbeumo. Who to bench? Bailey, White, Reece James? I would bench White. Oh, Carrickio, don't even say that. Jesus Christ. And it always happens now after the deadline, which is annoying as well. Yeah, I'm going with Bailey. I'm going with Bailey. No, he's in my lineup. Don't worry, he's in my lineup. And it's saved, right? I benched him just because I don't know why. I thought it was David Ornstein saying that. Should I bench Bailey and start Andreas Pereira? No, I'd start Bailey still for me. Mount versus Perisic, I start Mount. Yeah, 1 minute till the deadline. 50 seconds. Be sure to lock in your team. Start Bailey over Zinchenko. I would. Start Mendy or Ward. I'd start Mendy. Andreas or Dunk bench. I would bench Andreas Pereira. No problem, Jeff Johns. Perisic or Mahrez. I'd start Mahrez for sure. But they're both obviously big risks to start, especially Perisic. KDB or Haaland, who to captain? I really like KDB as a captain, but I'm going for Haaland. I have to say that really, you know, I'm really tempted by KDB. Mendy or Raya, I'd go for Mendy. All this freaking stress of Leon Bailey, I haven't missed this. Yeah, I know, but I was stupid just to believe that. But it's funny, you know, I have to see the funny side. Now I'm always smiling. But let me check if there's anything on Twitter. But it'd be typical now. The deadline's gone, and now, oh, Leon Bailey's on the bench, and I'd be kicking myself, really. Jesus Christ. I mean, it was the top tweet as well. But yeah, let's end this poll. As you can see, most of you said to bench Cash, and that's what I ended up doing. And we're locked in. Luis Diaz, Saka, Grealish, or Foden? Saka for me, then it's Diaz, then it's Foden, then Grealish. Starting Bailey and benching Trippier, this stretches too much. Good luck, Singh. Hopefully Bailey starts. If he doesn't, then, you know, we'll all be crying together in the reaction stream. Jesus. Yeah, we're locked in. Thank you, Liron. Thank you, Zerenz. I'm hearing no Bailey. Where? Oh, my God. Thoughts on Cancelo captain call? I really like it. I think he's in my top 5. Probably, so it'd be Haaland, Salah, KDB, Cancelo, then Trent. That's probably my top 5 captaincy choices. Locked in. Good luck, guys. Thanks, Dylan, for replying. No problem, mate. I always try to do my best. And we'll try to do a reaction stream maybe tomorrow. And I hope to see you there for that as well. And more FPL content throughout the week. But maybe I'll stick around for a little bit more. See if we get any news about Bailey and we can all cry together. And maybe, you know, I was going to be helped there by FPL Buna. Yeah, he was actually going to help us. Oh, God, this is actually absolutely annoying. But I think he's going to start. Famous last words, though. We're all just going to have to wait. All the best, Pritish, all the best. We both be crying together with similar team. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about it. Gerard's all over Bailey, definitely starting him. No, the way you talked him up the other day as well, that's another reason why. But also the great pre-season, the quality he possessed before joining Villa. Yeah, I think he's going to start. Is De Bruyne captaincy good? It's not good. It's great. It's a fantastic choice. I really like it. So, what else do we have? Scary game week with Bailey. Yeah, it definitely is. I think that's the main talking point, isn't it? And yeah, don't worry, Singh, you're now a moderator as well. We've got quite a lot in this channel as well. But yeah, it's good to have more Good luck to you as well, Sadindra, and to everyone watching. Bailey played 90 minutes last match, surely he starts. I think so as well. It's just trolling. And also, I think the main kind of doubts came from the Birmingham Mail not having him in the predicted lineup. But there is a bit of a shake-up, I think. With Mings coming back in. Bailey came off the bench and scored a brace last time. Don't worry, lads. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, Dylan Bailey will start. I think so too. That's why I started him. But obviously, if he doesn't, it is what it is. Double timeout, have fun. Double timeout. Yeah, I wonder if that adds more time to the ban. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Jay. As always, if Bailey didn't play well, then he would surely have been substituted last match. The thing is, no one really played that well for Villa, but he was one of the better players, or the least worst, really. I took a risk and started Pereira over James. Wow. Hoping Bailey, Haaland captain, Kane do well for me. My main concern is benching Cash, and I was considering benching James, for example. It's really close, though, and really, maybe with James, it's a bit of a FOMO, and, you've taken a big risk, you could say, but he is facing Tottenham, so, there is a bit of logic to the madness, per se. I'm still checking Twitter, scouring the internet to see if there's any news. But yeah, I would expect Leon Bailey to start. I would. Early kickoff is going to be absolutely amazing, isn't it? As it tends to be. All right, so we're going to do a bit more research, see if there's anything else on Twitter, answer a few more questions, and then we're going to be heading off. And we're going to be resting, recovering, and watching the football and seeing you in the reaction stream, hopefully, tomorrow. I'll let you guys know in not only the community tab, but also on Twitter. Yeah, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Sold Bailey for Aronson. Low-key want Bailey to be benched. Yeah, no, if I did that as well, I definitely would. And look, Aronson looked much better in Game Week 1 compared to Bailey, for example. Keeping Kane nervous Game Week. Yeah. I think the effective ownership of Haaland is going to be absolutely insane. But look, it could be a role reversal. It could be Kane scoring the points now and Haaland blanking. You never know. Thank you, Dylan. Was just asking for the mods to stop the spammer. Yeah, no, I know. I know you were, but I was like, you know what, saying, yeah, I trust you as well. So another nice mod to have. So yeah. But yeah, it was great to see all of you on here, and hopefully everything you see on the left-hand side is much better next week. More Game Week points, more overall points, and a much better rank. Be sure to join the FPL League, and also to join us on Twitter and Instagram. Dylan RCM, there's the Discord server. The link is in the description below, and there's also much more, including the channel memberships and the Patreon. So be sure to check all of that out. But it's great to have all of you on here. It was a blast to go through it and to be trolled about. So sorry, I just that we're not starting again soon. Imagine that we're just going to go back in time and do this all over again. I had to sort something out on my stream deck, so yeah, don't worry about that. Waiting for the lineups potentially. But if not, we might just cut short a little. Right now we've gone through everything now. No, not yet. How long does it take for FPL to come back up? It tends to take a long time, so like an hour, sometimes a bit less. So basically by 11:40, 12 p.m. we should have the game back up. But I'm not sure if they've changed the site a little bit in terms of all of that stuff this season. But let's see. Yeah, no, I can't lie. I had the wrong commands and stuff for some reason. So I got to check that out again. I had to change the setup and everything for the holidays as well. But it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, you can see my team on screen. Nothing really to say. Thank you, Mickey. All the best to you as well. What's your opinion on SpongeBob SquarePants? I mean, I loved it as a kid, to be honest. And who doesn't love SpongeBob? Well, yeah, that's a nice question to have. Let's not talk about Bailey being benched. Let's talk about SpongeBob SquarePants. Why not? No, still nothing on Twitter. Nothing. So it's going to be probably an 11:30 reveal for the Aston Villa Everton game. So there you go. There we have it. Haaland, Salah, and Diaz not going for the World Cup. Do you think the workload will be too much for others? I think there will be an element of maybe a bit of resting and easing them back into the groove of things in the Premier League for the players that are going to the World Cup. I think those players you just listed have an advantage. And, Haaland and Salah, the two best FPL options at the moment, not having the World Cup, I think that just makes them even more appealing, to be honest. So they have the advantage over the others, but I wouldn't say the workload is, absolutely unbearable for the others. Obviously, it's really difficult. It's something unprecedented, but yeah, definitely an advantage. Dylan, did you go for Greece for your holiday? Yeah, I did. It was great. It was for 2 weeks, and it was a blast. You know, just going to the beach every single day. Really, it was absolutely mad. Yeah, fingers crossed, Mohammed. Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see. But who knows at this point? Who knows? But I think Bailey will start. I'm fairly confident about that. I was absolutely mug for almost falling for. Well, I did fall for that rolling. But yeah. Let's get the right screen up on this time. So this is what I wanted to put. You can subscribe to the channel, you can hit the notification bell and never miss a single upload or stream. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. Okay, that is the right one, so that's good. And it's just a pleasure to have all of you on here. And I will be talking to all of you in the reaction stream. We'll be talking about how we're doing and looking ahead to the next game week. And we'll have the usual deadline stream next week, of course, as well as the usual FPL content, such as the team selection, transfer tips, and much more on this channel. But yeah, another very enjoyable stream as always. I'm going for the World Cup Canada versus Belgium game and semi-final. Hopefully that's my holiday. Wow, mate, enjoy it. Hopefully you have a great time. I know someone else who's going to all of the games for his nation, and I think he's going to another game as well. I mean, to be honest, I haven't really considered it as much as, obviously I want big things at the Qatar World Cup. I'm still a bit uneasy about how the whole stadium was constructed and everything like that, but look, I'm sure it's happened as well at other venues and other World Cups as well. That's the thing, but it doesn't make this one right, of course. But hopefully you enjoy it. And Canada versus Belgium is an interesting game, isn't it? And Canada could be a bit of a, I'd say, dark horse, not to win it, of course, but to maybe do better than we expected. A bit like Costa Rica in 2014. They were very impressive in their World Cup qualification. But it's great to have all of you on here, and I'll see you in the next streams and the next videos. Let's see if Bailey starts or not. My prediction is yes. But we'll be talking in the comment section and seeing how my predictions ended up being. But it's been a blast. Take care. Enjoy the football as always. All the best of luck for Game Week 2. And I'll see you next time.